This is a Chucky Beat production. This is a Chucky Beat production. This is a Chucky Beat production.
Welcome everybody.
This is a Chucky Beat production.
Welcome. Why do I have multiple music players going right now? I was doubling up. That was my fault, guys. I had the preview going. How's everybody doing? I didn't listen to it as it was playing. I just stepped away from my computer and I came back. How's everybody doing? So disrespectful. What's going on? Christian, Tess, Mark Busquet, Salome, Eco Steve, my boy. Ooh, Clown Mazard, Gung Fu, Mattis. Mish, everybody's up in here already. See, when we do proper scheduling, people actually show up. That's great. LA Methwich, of course. All the familiar faces. Thank you guys so much for showing up today. So basically what we got going on today, guys, is gonna be a fun one. We have Charles Marlow. Ooh, Danny with the early quiche. $5.99. Are you out of your mind? Thank you so much. That's Australian, I believe. Shout out to the Aussies. You can attach a question to that, by the way, if you like. So what we got going on today is none other than CMC Broadcasting, a.k.a. Charles Marlow, otherwise known as the Lil Cheetah, a.k.a. the Vegan Cheetah, a.k.a. the man with the van. So it's going to be good today. What do you guys say? I want a fully interactive chat today. Charles Marlow is no stranger to the drama, to the chat, to making all kinds of racket online. So it should be good. Oh, hit him with the bands. I've instructed my moderators to be very heavy with the band hammer, guys. We allow a certain amount of shit talking if it's directed towards me, if it's directed towards each other, but don't disrespect the mods and don't say dumb shit. All right? We all know what's going on. And for the trolls out there who think it's no big deal to get banned, then why are you DMing me afterwards saying, please unban me? I want to talk. You've silenced me. There you go. Raw alignment. Mish just smack them around for you. No problem. So, sorry about that double music, guys. I was hype on getting that all dialed in, and I walked away from my computer thinking I had a few minutes to mess around, and I came back, and it was doubling up on the music because I had something going on my back end. But anyway, that's all over now. Okay, so how's everyone doing? My hair looks so stupid right now. I'm putting on a hat. I got too much hair, guys. All the vegans are losing their hair. I got too much damn hair. Tonight is going to be a beautiful weekday night stream. Hopefully there's no technical difficulties at this point moving forward. Of course, things happen, and it is what it is. But we're getting better at this, guys. We are getting better. So, Charles, make sure that you email me so that I can send you the link for the Hangout stream. That way we can be snippety snap right at 5 p.m., baby. I'm not unsheathing the hair again, okay? I'm sorry, Elise. Drew Hot AF, thank you very much. LA Methwitch, God bless. I want you guys to start thinking up some good questions tonight for CMC, because we are going to not only discuss, we may get into a bit of debate, we may get into a bit of storytelling and sharing. Hopefully we get some more details on the background of Charles Marlow. He is a mysterious man. He reports from the van on everybody else, but we don't know a whole lot about his life, and that's the deal with reporters. You know, they talk about everybody else, but they're not always talking about themselves. But tonight he's a guest on my show, and he's going to be a guest for you guys, so we're going to dig into that a little deeper. I am so butthurt about the music, by the way. That would have been painful. I would have had to mute that. I would have clicked out of the stream. Oh, God, the hair. With the headphones, it's just popping up. It looks roosterish. You see what's going on here? Hang on. Let's see if we can get it dialed in a little bit. Not that. Not that. Okay. I look so Cuban, like Ricky Ricardo right now. Let's dial it in. Hair stream, hair tutorial. All right, you want to get deep into the roots. You want to sweep it back. All right. Compress the sides if you have the bush like I do. And there you go. Place the headset on there. Be gentle. And there we go. Debate Mark Tassie. I think I offered Mark Tassie to come on the show the other day. The Mark Tassie situation. You guys want updates on Mark Tassie situation? Well, let me just tell you guys. Mark Tassie goes out of his way to harass me online. Every video I'm in, every comment section I'm in, he comes through and he talks about his goddamn fruit. And it just pisses me off, if I'm just honest with it. He told me the other day, he said, if I beat him up Mount Baldy, which is a local hill climb on the bicycle, he'll consider coming on my show. And he got very upset when I put him in the same category as Gary Carborator, which I both consider them absolutely the same level of mental capacity, human being, the outlook on life, the outlook on fruit. He said, I chickened out. I don't know about that. Mark Tassie. Mark Tassie said that as long as you only eat quickly within the day and you wash your mouth out with water, you don't have tooth issues on the fruit diet. But he got his tooth pulled last year. So, you know what I mean? If your fucking diet is so dialed in, why you getting your teeth pulled? I was bitching because I had to get 4 cavities. And this dude's out there getting teeth yanked. I don't know if he's got it. I don't know if he's got all the kinks worked out. You know what I'm saying? Gary Carburetor, that is a psychopathic man. I think he may have actual mental issues. I don't say that lightly. Just catching up with the chat. Making sure everybody's doing okay. Making sure I didn't miss anything. We got some people hating the hair. We got some people liking the hair. Oh my gosh. We'll just let it fly. Screw it. CMC going live with his dream girl's boyfriend. That is funny. I don't know about that. Come on. Charles in the van, he's got girls lining up around the block, around the sidewalk. The challenge from Nate Finn. Oh, yeah, I should actually talk about that. My little boy Nate. So, let me bring this up with you guys. I have a person in Australia, a young man who wanted to take me up on my offer, which was with Plantriotic, where I originally said that I will switch diets with you for 30 days. I will go vegan again, and you will eat a carnivore diet. That way, your ethics can remain intact because I will be consuming the plants that you would have been eating, and you're going to consume the animals that I would have been eating. So, he made a video for me on YouTube, shouting me out, calling me out, really. He was nice young man, but... you know, I told him, I don't think that I can... First of all, I don't want to do it. I flat out rejected my proposal, or I rescinded my proposal. But I just can't do it right now. I mean, you guys know I'm on the Candida supplements right now. So for me to jump back on veganism would be completely stupid. I would just wreck my gut. I already know what my gut does at this moment in time, eating, some plant foods. And it's not a great result right now. It's still not amazing. So for me to jump back onto that and just to take him up on the offer, it's not worth it. Now, that being said, I think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the offer out for somebody else who's a viewer of mine or anybody else here on YouTube that doesn't have a YouTube or social media presence that wants to get involved in this project as sort of a lab rat, a guinea pig, who is already an omnivore or already a carnivore and who wants to attempt to consume a vegan diet for 30 days. So this kid can go carnivore for 30 days because he's a successful successful vegan for the past 6 years, and he claims to have very good digestion. He claims to have very good results. So I need somebody who's willing to be a guinea pig, who's who's willing to go vegan for 30 days, who's curious about the vegan diet. So if there's somebody out there that wants to do that, I'm gonna interview both of you guys on my channel, and we're going to have you guys swap diets, and it's going to be one of the best YouTube experiments that's ever been done. Never been seen before on YouTube. We're doing all kinds of revolutionary stuff here, guys, and it's easy. We're just coming up with new shit here. We're ahead of the curve, baby, all the time, always. Sorry if that sounds unhumble, but it's true. Garrett Scortino, my opinion on Rottweilers, fantastic animals, as long as you're willing to let them lick your entire body, and they take massive shits. Great dogs. What did Salome say? You'll be covered in thrush and want to die. Yeah, I hope not. But that would happen if I were to go to vegan diet right now. Oh, we already got some infighting in the audience. Oh, it's beautiful. Thank God. I love it. Thursday night drama. Who needs Game of Thrones? we have the Drew Morgan Show, aka the Vegan Assassin. What do you guys think? You guys think that our boy Plantriotic, aka Jackson, is going to bite the egg? What do you guys think? Or do you think he's going to hold out? Because I feel like he's on the edge, guys. He's prepping the audience. He's on the edge. We know that. Chris Grant wants to know how often I work out. I work out 4 to 5 days a week. And if you want to see how I work out, I made a video last Sunday where I did an entire workout stream. You can see literally exactly what I do every single day, which is exactly what I did today. I explained the whole thing. It's definitely a lot of information, and it's worth watching. Rottweilers are great. I know Sherry loves them. Poor little Rottweiler had a leg injury last week. We were a little bit worried about him because, they have hip injury. They get hip problems quite frequently. And yeah, so he healed, it appears. I literally started just feeding him extra meat, giving him bones every day with the steaks that I was eating, and giving him extra meat because I do feel like it helps him out a little bit. He's always more relaxed and calm when I feed him meat versus his little kibble. Okay, so let's see. We got Marielle, of course. Good evening, Marielle Bishop. Somebody said something, and I wanted to respond. Jackson, nobody thinks Jackson will do it. Okay. Soap on slope. You'll go vegan for 30 days if you could fast for 30 days. It's better than consuming the plants. I swear to God. If you have a lot of weight to lose, it'd be actually better for you, probably. Lester says he did veganism for 7 months. It was hard to get stronger. Yeah, man. Welcome to the club. There's a lot of us that had that experience. I need to make sure that CMC is in the wings. Okay. We'll send him a little email here. Multitasking. Not my strongest suit. Someone said, Drew, you're always getting good guests on here. It'd be cool if you get Freely in here. Sure, I'd have her on the channel. She probably wouldn't want to come on. But, I don't discriminate. If she wanted to come on, I would have her, of course. Of course you would, Drew. It's going to help build your channel. You're in it for the money. If only you guys knew what I've done for veganism and given away the money. Trust me. I think I put farmers' kids through college at this point. I cannot spell Vegan Cheetah's name right. Yes, Mark Busquet, I made a dating app. And actually, Vegan Cheetah just found that out the other day, which is kind of funny. He just found that out. And he's like, dude, did you make this thing? He's like, man, I was on that thing back in the day. I sent him a screenshot of it. Well, we're closing in on 4,000 subscribers. So when we do hit 4,000 subscribers, you guys better go to Vegetable Police's channel and harass the shit out of him. Because he said that he'll come on when I have 4,000. Well, he did say he only does live streams with people with at least 4,000. So you can interpret that as you'd like. Is Frank Tufano gay? I don't think so. But his thumbnails are very questionable. And very hard for me to even look at. I really hate the thumbnails. Hate them. Hate them. Hate them. Mark Tassie being in the same league as Carburetor, he's the same type of guy, man. They're both kind of like disconnected from reality. They're both like malnourished, skinny, sucked in, kind of like ramble about dumb shit. They're both on the fruit. They both ride bicycles. They're both old. Neither one has a channel that's growing, even though they put out content 24/7. I hate, that sounds really mean. That sounds really mean, but it's like, just saying. The vegan kill cult, what is that? Oh, Garland Farms, you're always coming through with the good shit. I'm going to save this for later. Ooh, the vegan kill cult. Oh, it's a Garland Farms. You know, we might have to watch that right now, Garland Farms. We might have to feature you here. The thumbnails are terrible, dude. I'm sorry. When did I last poop? Actually today. Just so you know. No, I don't want Brawley. Leave him out there. My dog wanted to come in, apparently. I don't use Instagram very often, no. Why do YouTubers talk about other YouTubers' way of editing, etc.? I don't know. Do they? I just making comments about Frank Tufano's thumbnails. That's just like a pure... If I was like a regular person and not even a YouTuber, I would see that and be like, oh my god, why does this guy look like this in his thumbnails? I know exactly why he really does it. It's obviously to like make people have a reaction. It's very genius. Just like Earthling Ed. I mean, I could break down Earthling Ed to a T. I know exactly what Earthling Ed does. I know what he does. I know why he does it. And yeah, so we should have Charles coming in about 7 minutes. He should have the link to pop in, and we'll get the party really started, guys. I hope you enjoy the little additional trinkets I'm adding to the stream. It's not easy to do all this stuff. It takes time. Anyhow, let's see how far delayed we are. Cool. We got Garrett in the channel. We got Michael Morgan in the channel. Shout out to my brother. He's in the Midwest right now on a business trip. Ashley says, it's funny how people think on a high meat diet you can't shit, and as a vegan I had way less bowel movements than I do eating carnivore. I literally go every day, no problem. You're all grasping at strings. You know, what's funny is, okay, first of all, as a vegan, I was, you know, you're shitting all day, basically. You don't know whether it's going to be a good one or a bad one, but I knew a few people, girls, who were constipated on a vegan diet, and I couldn't imagine how uncomfortable that must be, because if you think about that, you know, you have so much food inside of you, so much fiber, like it needs to come out. That's why vegans get scared when you start talking about pooping every 3 days, pooping every 4 days, because they're like, if I didn't shit for 24 hours, I would literally die. They would just explode at the seams. Shit would be everywhere. I think he's in Milwaukee or something. Joe Best. Man, what happened with Joe Best? What, dude, I forgot all about that guy. With the Thailand brothel? Oh, I got mad respect for Joe Best and his Thailand pimp house, dude. That thing's tight. All right, I want you guys to just take a moment. It's almost time for Charles Marlow. Close your eyes, take a breath, and I want you to think of the best vegan drama question that you can ask Charles. And if you so dare, super chat it over, and we'll get it going. We'll ask Charles on the stream. Oh, plant-based news, how you doing? Why do you have this like custom authenticated conspiracy channel name, dude. How do you have that? That's nuts. I want to be authenticated like plant-based news. Just anywhere you go, you're immediately look way more legit. See, organizations like plant-based news, nutritionfacts.org, well, if you're like a normal person, you think that these are actual authorities on just information because you trust the .org and you trust the plant-based news. People trust the news. They really do. So it's kind of interesting. And I'm not saying anything directly bad about it, but it does assert in a very smart way a sense of authority, which is why I think people do get confused by it. KFC serves vegan burgers? Really? What did Mr. Eli the Science Guy say? Paints the walls of the bathroom, exactly. You are monitored by a news accreditation. Interesting, Klaus. See, that's some UK shit right there. We don't have news accreditations in the United States. We have big sponsored channels on both sides of the spectrum that just basically try and battle it out 24/7 and spin things. And people still don't even realize that. They don't realize that Fox News is a Republican channel. They don't realize that CNN and NBC and all these other channels are liberal channels. And that's kind of the way that it works here. There's no like government accreditation because obviously there's going to be a bias there. That's pretty interesting. But you know, Europe is known for its regulations. And we want the least amount of regulations. Shout out to your poop, LA Meth Witch. I hope it comes out smoothly. Yeah, exactly. Garrett Scortino knows very well. Fox News is the only real news, and then if you get, beyond that, you have CNN, you have other fake news options. And if you need some real news for the vegan drama, you should turn into CMC Broadcasting because he's right at least 10% of the time. And that's as good as it gets around here. Let's make sure. Yeah, Klaus was good on Primal Edge, I agree. Today I'm going to get into something I call the reverse placebo effect. Yes, the reverse placebo effect. Term never been used before. Just like unethical veganism, never been used before. We are on the groundbreaking shit here, guys. By the way, very soon we are going to have John Venus on the channel. And then Saturday we have a interview scheduled with Christine Salas at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's already set up. So set your reminders for that. Subscribe to the channel for that. And yes, please tune in. Carnivore, I don't know if you can unban this person, Skenka, but if you can, I'm willing to give them one last chance. I personally banned them last week, and yes. Oh, I hear movement. We have movement. Everybody, I think we may have CMC on the line. CMC, do we have you, brother?
I can hear you. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes. Can you see me?
I can see and hear you. I was going to use my microphone, but I don't think I can because I need to hear you through the headphones. So is this audio okay?
It's good. It's okay.
Decent?
It's okay.
It's just my laptop internal mic, so hopefully we can go with that for tonight, if that's okay.
That's fine. Do you need a minute to plug it in? We can probably wait a second.
Well, no, because I only have a microphone that goes through the headphone port. I don't have a USB mic, so is it okay if we Do you think this will work for tonight?
It'll work.
Everybody
We're
can
good.
hear me? You're clear as
Everybody-
day for me.
Awesome. I'm going to pop you in. So here we go, guys. Welcome CMC to the channel, aka Charles Marlow, aka the Vegan Cheetah, retired nickname, now known as the Lil Cheetah. Holy moly, we have a $20 donation already coming in. Let's just cut the intro straight to the super chat. Should we answer this right now? No. We're going to give it a minute.
I haven't seen it. We can give it a minute. Yeah, if you want to, like, do the warm up and stuff. This is the first time we're actually talking ever, face to face.
First time we're talking. Good to meet you.
Good to
Welcome
meet you
to the
too.
show. I already gave you a brief intro earlier. For anybody who's new showing up, we have Charles Marlow here, live from the news van, which, by the way, I love that you're mobile at all times.
Yes, it's awesome.
This is, first of all, Charles is the first YouTube reporter, if you guys don't know that. He is the first live streaming YouTube reporter on scene all the time. If Mark Tassie went down in a bike race, and he needed help because he's flying down the hill too quickly on his bicycle, and bananas was popping out all over the place, you would go be able to help him on the spot and report on it.
I have tried to meet up with Tassie a couple of times because I guess he's somewhere down here in California, and he's never I've offered meet up with him at the beach or something, film a video, because he's been trolling me too. Remember you were talking about how he's always calling you out in the comment section and stuff. That's kind of how I got to know him, just because he was sort of like a nuisance in my chat. But I actually like Mark Tassie, to be honest with you. I know he's probably said some fucked up shit, but he's a funny dude. You know what I'm saying? I've been following him for a while, but
right.
I would help him out. Maybe.
You'd help him out.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Depends on what kind of mood I'm in that day.
So, Charles hit me up the other day. He said I wanted to do this for a while actually with him, and he said that, we should get together this week. And
I was waiting to get a van so I could sit down and do it proper. You know what I mean? I got a little room on wheels now. So
yes.
That's
and I've
what
been watching some of these. And I said to the audience that you are at least 10% accurate with your news story. So, if they want the most reliable news information, you got to see Lil Cheetah. It's as good as it gets, guys. It's as good as it gets.
That's a better review than Plantriotic gave me, so I'll take it.
Plantriotic, he's currently experimenting, he's got egg brain right now. So let's just, you know what I mean?
He's struggling. It's a struggle. He's struggling. Definitely. I can see it.
Absolutely. Okay, so before we go any further, we have to address an elephant in the room.
Let's go for it.
So, I need to know your feedback on this.
Okay.
It was a video that you made, vegan to carnivore, raw alignment claims carnivore diet is healthy. This is about a month ago.
Okay.
It's got nothing to do with her stuff in it, but you did mention your boy DrewMorg over here. So
okay,
we need to address this immediately, and we're gonna play the part for us and the audience, and then I need your commentary and feedback based on the subject. Okay.
Okay, I'm nervous. Let's go.
No need to be nervous. So here we go. We're going to the triple here, guys. Here we are, and we're gonna play this clip.
Just to give you an idea of who Drew is.
Oh!
It'll come back. Maybe not.
No, it's cool. Refresh. What's going on, everybody? Hi, Drew's chat. What's up, Klaus?
It doesn't want to work. Interesting. That's weird.
Can you quote it until it freshes up? Ooh. Oh, man. You got the dislike on there, too? Oh.
It's a dislike. It's a publicly known dislike.
We see it.
Why does this not work? This is so weird. Anyway. Okay, there we go.
Here we go.
As he likes to proclaim on every podcast, he's currently on a, quote, cut. Okay? A 33-year-old man on a cut. I guess he had a little extra belly fat he wanted to get rid of. So he's on a cut for Instagram, I guess. Yes, guys. 33 years old, and he's on a fucking cut. Okay, Rich Piana. So, Drew.
Okay. So we need to know what's the beef with the 33-year-old man on a cut.
All right. So, to be honest with you, like, I heard that week you were talking about your fitness, and that's, I think, the same week that you did the interview with Elise, and so you kind of like popped up on my radar. I was trolling you a little bit there, obviously, but I guess I was like just trying to like, it was sort of like just a reference to some of the stuff that you had been talking about, because you said you were trying to like lose, I don't know, a little bit of belly fat, I guess is what you said, and you started weightlifting or at least working out the past 4 months. So that's kind of why I went in on you like that, because you kind of popped up on my radar, and I don't know, I was kind of having a jab about like the cut thing. I think that's what you said too. You were like, I'm on a cut.
I did say that. I just that when I saw that clip, I was laughing so hard.
Did you like it?
Oh yeah, it was great.
It's all in good fun. Like I like you. You seem like a really good dude.
I thought it was just funny because of the age thing. You're like, he's 33, and I was like, I guess I'm now at the age where like people in their mid-20s think I'm old, because when I was 23, 24, 25, and there was like the 33-year-old guy in the club, and I'm drinking there with the chicks or whatever, like I thought they were old, So I think it's just really funny to me. It's almost like a passing of the torch, It was like a reality moment for me.
It's not that you were even old. It's that like, usually I hear like people that are really into fitness, right? Like people that are like, I don't know, maybe they like just got into like the aesthetics, or they're watching like Jeff Seed on YouTube, but they'll, a lot of like younger kids are always talking about, I'm going on a cut. I got to do a cut. It's like, at a certain point, like, I just felt like it would be funny just to,
it is funny.
I'm 31, so like I'm always on a cut. I'm on a cut year round, so.
That for me, it was like this is just for the audience to understand. Basically, I had gained so much like soft jelly, boobies and fat on my belly, and the rest of me was still skinny. But this is just like what happened to me as a vegan over time. Even though I was watching what I ate, trying to eat high protein and working out consistently, like it's just developed this like soft jelly-like body. And I hated it. I wanted to get rid of it. So anyways, Garrett Scortino, thank you for the donation. And let's get right into this, not to ruin our momentum here, but we do have a $20 super chat. We have to pop off here.
Yeah, go ahead.
We have to respect the super chat. What if you were born as an animal, but you still had human mental capacity? Then you knew you were about to be slaughtered. Would you still support carnism, even if there's benefits for humans? What about you and your needs? That's a very deep super chat. That's a $20 super chat right there. If it was $5, I would have to just be like, we're putting this off. But
it's philosophical.
What's your take on that? Let's just go real quickly back and forth, and then we can get into the nitty-gritty details of what we want to accomplish today.
I'd like to refer just real quick back to something I mentioned earlier this week in one of my streams, which was that like the reason animals and humans are different is because like animals can't really transcend their own nature and aspire to like greater things. So in that way, the animals don't have the potential that humans do. So, I understand where this person's coming from, and I see this kind of argument a lot, but like humans are different. And the reason it's justifiable to consume animal flesh for our own health is because we have to be at our ultimate health and fitness levels. Like if we so choose, we have to be there in order to accomplish like everything that we have the potential to accomplish in life. Does that make sense? So, sure, it sucks that animals have to die, but like I'm not related to them, and I make a distinction between animals and humans. So I think that's how for the vegans, they don't really make that distinction, I feel like, or that's like part of the argument is that like the vegans, they can't distinguish between like human life and the potential with human life and animal life. They
want to group it together.
Yeah. What do you think?
I totally agree with that. And I think that it's interesting how vegans are the ones that make that distinction of we're the same, but then we're not the same with the certain animals that they don't care about killing, which are like the birds and the, and the bees and the mice and the rodents. And of course they try and debunk this wheat thresher argument, they like to say. But the reality is that shit is real. I don't know what they're tripping about. Animals are killed in terms of like trying to just harvest vegan food, basically, no matter what happens. If you live out in the wilderness, like being in Hawaii, for instance, like it brought me so close to nature that I really saw the true nature of farming and animals being around. Like those things will destroy your yard. Actually, one of my buddies who might be watching the channel right now, Off Grid Hawaii, these guys have their own farm and they're out there working their asses off trying to keep things going on their land. And a few pigs came through and destroyed all their crops overnight. So yeah, you do have to defend your land and stuff like that. So to answer his question though, what if you were born as an animal and you had mental human? I mean, that would suck. Like if I was an animal with a human brain in a slaughter yard and I was like, I'm about to be fucking slaughtered, I just don't know what day is coming. And then they put me in the little line of cows going up into the thing. I mean, you just got to basically accept your fate. And to be really like disturbing visual here is that happens to humans too. I mean, that is the case with different times of history where there's been humans that have been treated like animals and have been slaughtered by other humans. So like that happens as humans and it's horrific in that case as well. However, I would make the argument that in those cases, you have people killing people for no good reason. Like there's no health benefit to killing another human unless they're trying to kill you. You know what I mean? Like if it's in self-defense, it's obvious that you need to kill them or defend yourself. Otherwise you will then pay the price. And that's kind of like the same thing with animals is it's you or them. It is you or them. Vegans think it's not you or them, but you do veganism long enough and we start to see the results. And of course, that's some of the topics that me and Charles are going to get into today. Both of us being long-term ex-vegans. And I think that's what makes this whole, on YouTube, if you had people who were vegans versus omnivores just arguing, it would be the same argument and battle that's always gone on through the beginning of time. You know what I mean? But because there's so many long-term ex-vegans that are popping up now that have a voice, that aren't scared to talk about it, that are showing up, that's what's making this interesting.
Like right there, the progress where people are now, like I remember back when it was super, super scary for people to like come out about it, And
yeah, well, it still is.
That's changed completely.
And by the way, somebody asked, Danny asked if Elise unblocked Charles on Instagram yet. He may not know this, but I happen to know she did. So Charles will be happy Elise. About that.
Hi.
We can now move on.
I'm breathless.
He's breathless. So, yeah. All right. So that answers that wonderful super chat. Again, thank you very much for that. If you guys have any more questions, we will do our best to accommodate. So, did you have any topics that you wanted to get into first? I'd like to give the floor to the guest of the day.
Oh, that's so hospitable.
Of course.
Well, I would like to talk about fitness. I'm also interested in talking about digestion. It doesn't have to be gross, but there are some interesting things to talk about there, I think. Comparatively, comparing the two diets, right? Because we've both been on both of them. And then I think talking about the issue of trying to bring it back to the global food supply structure, because that's basically what vegans and ex-vegans and non-vegans, they all have in common, where they can see the potential for this like global food supply structure to completely take over and put us on a corporate slave diet. Mm-hmm. So I think it'd be interesting to talk about the vegan arguments that we receive, right? We get a lot of vegans and a lot of backlash in the comments or whatever. But talking about like how do we remind people that like we do have stuff in common, right? Like we're all trying to figure out like what is the most ethically and sustainable way to like source your nutrients. So I don't know. That's some stuff on my mind. But it's your show.
No, that's great. I know that you are somewhat conspiracy minded. Or conspiracy aware, I guess.
Yeah, it's fun for me.
You like to dabble. You're a chemtrail man.
Yeah.
Well, no, this is why I bring this up is because historically I have shunned these topics. I have not wanted to engage in these topics because I feel like it's distracting to the specific health message. It's easy to get caught up in the conspiracy and the globalists and the who's controlling the food supply and all this stuff. Like, to me, that's step 2, 3, 4, 5 when we still haven't figured out step 1 all the way. And that being said, I am totally willing to talk about it, and this will be the first time and maybe a little bit of a diversion for my audience because, you know, we're gonna engage in this today because you want to.
The reason I brought it up is because Plantriotic, right? His whole argument, because I want to talk about him too and like his potential experiment, but his whole argument is that it's more ethical to like have a cow or hunt or whatever, like try to source your own meat and remove yourself from, you know, this like global food supply structure where so much food and processed food that's not very healthy for us has to be transported like across oceans and stuff. And he's basically saying that like if this could work and I was healthier or felt better, that would be the more, you know, ethical diet. And for the vegans, that's what it's about, is the ethics. So that's why I kind of brought that up and thought it might be fun to explore. But
I haven't done, I will totally admit that I am letting this research be conducted by my fellow carnivore people. Like Bobby's Perspective, for instance, has been interviewing farmers and going around and doing the hard work with that. Yeah. And that's more than vegans are doing, in my opinion. He's doing more to get to the bottom of that question than vegans are doing. And, you know, because vegans, as soon as the mainstream health organization started backing veganism, that was the end of the road of research for them. They basically said, we have everybody backing us now. We already know it's a slam dunk case on the animal ethics aspect. So this is the best diet. Case closed. Anybody who's even questioning or researching this at this point is full of shit, and you have your own agenda, blah, 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 blah. You're lazy. You're leaving veganism for social pressure. They have like a million excuses, right? But as we're, you know, so I guess my whole point is other people are doing a better job of researching it than me. However, I still have opinions on it. And I am willing to talk about that because it's important to just like, I mean, people are curious, you know? Yeah. And yeah, so like what you said, as far as the global food supply being like, okay, well, everybody's on bananas now. Well, how realistic is it for Ecuador to produce the world's bananas if everybody was vegan, you know? Exactly. Like everybody needs 10 bananas a day. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Is it sustainable to do is the vegan diet, especially for people that are living in Europe, living in Canada, you know, is it sustainable? Is it, you know, is it the right path, I guess? Because it's not just an ethical question or a political question or whatever. It's also kind of like for some people, it's kind of a spiritual question because people are really on the sort of journey to try to live in alignment with their values and, you know, trying to also like not do like as much damage as like, because maybe the vegan diet, right? If you're in, I don't know, Sweden, or if you're in somewhere in Northern Europe, maybe the vegan diet is like worse for your environment, for the environment that the food has to come from. And like you said earlier, like it's a lot of vegans just want to look over the fact that their food definitely has a negative consequence when it comes to the animals or the environment, and they like won't look at it sometimes, you know. So
well, guys like Tristan, you know, Primal Edge Health, like he lives in Ecuador, which is a hell of a lot closer to the situation than these vegans are living in New York or Canada. And so he's like, guys, I've seen the devastated shorelines where all these bananas are planted. I've seen the kids that are sprayed with glycophosphates that grow up with a fucking tumor in their forehead. You know what I mean? Like, this stuff is real here. It's just that you guys get the little Chiquita banana stamp on your banana up in California, and you think that it's all good, right? So I guess that's what I have to say about that. Now, another good question that popped up in the chat, and this is something that Jackson has proposed as well, is, so what about vegan organic farming? Is it not possible, or something about not working hard? But in my opinion, this idea of vegan organic farming doesn't exist on a mass scale anyway. So vegans are the first ones to bring up sustainability. So if you have one little piece of perfect land, like let's say you live in Hawaii and you can pull this off, it doesn't mean that everybody else in the world is going to be able to pull that off. So how the hell does that make any sense for the rest of the world? And on top of that, I don't think it's possible even for that person in that perfect little piece of land, because I've seen people try and pull this off in Hawaii, which is probably the best place in the United States to grow fruit and, like actual plant products. And they're still in town buying their lentils, still in town buying their beans. Nobody's growing goddamn lentils. Nobody's growing beans. Nobody's growing soy and processing it into soy milk. You know what I mean? Sure, you have bananas, but that's it.
Because some people's lifestyle, right? Like if you're living in the city, there's only a certain amount of removal that you can only remove yourself from the food supply structure to a certain degree if you're living, like, let's say in a big metropolitan area. But it's definitely something to think about, right? Like depending on where you live, or because some people are going to want to pack up everything, leave the US, move to Ecuador and start a farm. And Plantriotic seems open-minded to that. But the reality is most people won't do that.
Right.
Most people are still, like, realistically speaking, they're going to be living off of the food that other people have to make, But
right.
I think asking and answering the questions, what is, ethical, what is sustainable? I think there's still the vegans, basically, when they argue this, they pretty much have the premise or the pretense that it's already been decided that veganism, 100% eating plants, for the entire world is the most sustainable, and like the debate is over, when it's not
even close to over. It's actually, thank God for YouTube, because YouTube is one of the best marketing engines that ever existed, and it has created so many vegans. And this is another thing that's really funny to me, is you have these little armchair vegans who are, 19-year-old boys and girls out there online, and they're hating on somebody like Raw Alignment or somebody like Ravana or somebody like, who else has fallen off that's huge? Bonnie
Rebecca,
right? So these girls have made more vegans in their lifetime than this person who's bitching about them not being vegan anymore could ever imagine creating. So if that person should be kissing their ass, shaking their hand, saying thank you so much for your service, even though you're not vegan, and even though you'll inspire half those vegans to not be vegan anymore. Guess what? You still made 50,000 people go vegan, and that's more than I'll ever do in my entire life. So thank you very much. But people just don't see it that way. They're so dumb. They're so ignorant. Arrogant is what I call it.
And that's what's so shocking, I think, about like with everyone that's come out, especially the very popular people with this ex-vegan stuff. It's so shocking because they have had such a huge contribution that they've made. It's such a huge impact. And but yeah, you're right. A lot of people that want to sort of argue this or hate on people for giving up veganism, there a lot of them are in this sort of position where they haven't really contributed. Like that's why I picked up on that. I was talking about this the other day with you and creating Honeybee, because I remember having an account on that app a long time ago. That's like such a huge contribution. I'm talking about it publicly because you made a public post about it. But Ryan is painting you out to be the devil, and even said that you're diabolical. He said what you're doing is diabolical. Like that's pretty, that's pretty harsh. But
right.
I don't know. Does he know about like your contributions, or do you think like vegans in general? I mean, do you think they even consider the contribution that people have made in trying to like find the truth?
So no, they don't. They don't care, because as soon as you leave, as soon as you eat meat, now they need to character assassinate you. They need to character assassinate you as quick as possible, because if you have any flame left in you and people believe in what you're saying, then like they have to discredit you across the board. Otherwise, people might latch onto your message. The more people, that's why I call myself the vegan assassin, because the more people speak to me, the more they want to argue with me, the worse off, like the further away they get from veganism. And it's not even with me really trying that hard. I just literally say, this is what happened. I don't get into the studies. I don't get into all that stuff. And then the wheels start turning, and they're like, fuck, man, is this happening to me? And again, I have a term I've called the reverse placebo effect that I want to get into in a minute. But dude, just as you said, and I want to show the audience here, hopefully they can see this. Guys, this is Honeybee. Look at this. Look at this. This is how many people are just around me in my area. And I hope it's still scrolling. Look at it. We can go for 20 minutes. This is how many vegans I got on this app.
Like, that's
Thousands.
a huge contribution. There might be a vegan baby out there because of that. You know what I mean? And
Exactly.
Ryan's saying that you are diabolical because you're like, you're sort of encouraging people to reach, you know, their optimal health and fitness level, like your friends in Hawaii and Raw Lyman and everything. Like, I don't know. That's why I pointed that out, because it was like, I don't even know if Ryan realizes.
He doesn't.
This,
he doesn't know that. He doesn't know that. And he
Right.
and he might even know of people who've used the app, and he's like, he doesn't even know that. And he doesn't. People don't realize that took thousands of dollars to invest in and thousands of hours of time. Like, it was a big part of my life. I had a whole company around it. So it's just, it is what it is, and I don't even care. Like, I don't even care about. I made that truly out of the bottom of my own heart at the time. Yes, I would have loved to make money on it, but like, I knew there was a chance I would make no money on it. You know what I mean? And
you see how like it's just so for the story and for like the drama and everything. I think it's hilarious that like that kind of came out, because I was like, Ryan like was just going in so hard, and these vegans they're very, very like, they're really upset because I think, and let me know what you think about this, but I think like the vegans, they thought they were sort of like winning. Like back in 2016, even like 2017, it was like veganism all the way, and Google starts pushing veganism and stuff. But like this past year or so, the vegans like see all this happening, and I think it's been a sort of a huge dent just to if there is a collective vegan ego. I think it was a huge dent this past year just seeing all this go down.
Oh, I love that I've tried to explain this concept to people because I've been following along with the timeline this whole time, and back 5 years ago when it peaked, 5-6 years ago with the Harley and Durian Rider era when things were just exploding and everybody was going vegan. You were missing the boat if you weren't going vegan, you know what I mean? And it made sense. There was like science, there was results, but this was the first mainstream wave of, how people say, I did it before it was cool. Like we all of us who went vegan 5 years ago, that Durian Rider Freely peak era of YouTube, we did it before it was cool. That was pre-mainstream veganism. Now, if you go vegan, there's not even that many hardcore vegans. If you hear somebody say, "Oh, I'm a vegan," they got the little plant on their Instagram bio. These chicks aren't vegan. They're just eating mostly plants, and they eat as little animal products as possible, and it's trendy and it's cool, and nobody really gives them shit either way, because nobody even the term veganism is, I believe, kind of washed out. Of course, there's still these hardcore vegans on YouTube that represent the 100% plant-based movement, so that's a difference. But I would like to talk about this term of reverse placebo effect, and this kind of goes along with what we're saying, because let me read my little notes here. So you had people going vegan 5 years ago, big wave of them, right? Now, vegans now are saying, guys like me who are sharing their story, who are getting I'm getting other people to go unvegan. They're saying it's like a placebo effect, that I'm sharing my results and then they try a little bit of salmon and then they have good results. So here's the thing. Vegans are so dumb. Okay, placebo is powerful. Placebo is to blame for all this veganism. And guess what? It was to blame with you guys thinking veganism was working for you in the first place. The veganism was the placebo. You trying animal products and getting off of it and eating salmon and feeling good is the reality. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is how bad the vegan diet was, is that even though everybody was placeboed out of their fucking minds, it still failed them. Like, these vegans that are like the Ryan, the happy, healthy vegans, they're totally invested. They're never going to leave the ship. These guys don't take into account that we didn't want to leave veganism. You know what I mean? We were bought in. We had the Mickey Mouse ears on, guys. Like, we were all holding hands together. I moved to Hawaii to be around vegans. I made a vegan dating app. Like, everybody I know was invested in one way or another with veganism. So we would have loved for that shit to work. Do you think it's fun coming out to your family and being like, oh, by the way, that shit didn't work? Every single one of your friends. Do you remember when you told me you should have gone vegan, bro? I'm like, yeah, I was wrong. I was straight wrong. I'm sorry. I've had to say that so many times. You know what I mean? So what's your opinion on this? Do you think that there's... Which way do you think the placebo is going? Because I think the placebo was the veganism working in the first place, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. I mean, vegans love anecdotal evidence until it comes to the fact that like it's disproving veganism, you know? And you see that like with every instance here. But Megan Remedy, I think is her name. She said
Mhm.
this. I think you were streaming with her. She said something about how what she's concerned with is, you know, actual clinical studies, like case studies, people one after another, you know, of people that can you know, that can document and describe their diet. Um, we have a lot of reference points now. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm glad that there's people that are still willing, you know, to push the extremes, right? To see veganism through to the very end. I'm
Mm.
glad we have those people. I'm glad that we have people that were willing to give up veganism and try something else. We're gonna have so many. You know, that's why I try to remind the vegans when they're coming at me is like we have so many reference points now. But I think yes, I do think the vegans like there was almost a placebo effect, I would say, when I went vegan, because you know you hear people like Freely said, you know, you may gain a little weight or feel bloated for a while, but then you're just going to start, you know, shedding down. So like when I was like maybe getting bloated and just, you know, kind of retaining these carbs in this water, I'm thinking to myself, oh, this is healthy. You know what I mean? Because it was like already put in my head that this is okay. And I actually did manage to build a pretty good physique. And I would always attribute it to veganism, right? Like I would always say to myself that like, you know, obviously plant-based diets are just as good, but when you've been sticking with it for, because we've been committed, right? Like I was vegan for 3.5 years.
Mhm.
And after a while, you know, that it you just start to be more and more open-minded. And that's sort of like where I think Plantriotic is at, where like he wants to know, you know, because even if you're not that, like you may not even be feeling that bad, but what if you did what if you did incorporate eggs or fish just minimally? It might give you a huge boost. And like that's definitely not a placebo effect. Like if you can eat something and correlate it the very next day to a boost in mood or a boost in I mean the vegans do this all the time, right? They say, oh, my smoothies had me feeling so light. So as far as like the placebo effect goes, I mean, I think in my opinion, I was a little delusional when I was vegan,
Hmm.
right? You know, I was really thinking this was the right choice for a long
Well,
time.
I
I
mean,
was
because
lost.
you had results, and I think that the
Yeah.
people who eat a lot, because obviously you had to eat a good amount to get those results,
Yeah.
right? So the people who eat a lot, and I was one of them, I ate a lot. I always ate enough because I had an idea about nutrition before going vegan. So I still applied like some of that past knowledge to veganism. Like, okay, well, I know I still need this. Well, Durian Rider says I can get by with 35 grams of protein. Like, that sounds crazy, but let me try it. You know what I mean? And then when that didn't work, I obviously upped my protein, got a little bit better results, and I played around with those figures. But anyways, totally forgot where I was going with this.
Well, we
But
were talking about placebo effect and stuff. I kind of got off topic a little bit. I'm sorry.
I do. I want to point out, like you said, it like not being aware of how you feel when you're vegan, like you are
Yeah.
delusional or whatever. So
Yeah.
this topic, I've come up with this. I've come up with this analogy before. It's like you have a television, and you know back in the day when people were watching TV, like on regular TVs before like the HD TVs came out.
Yeah.
And then you'd see an HD TV and you're like, that's not that much different. Like people would upgrade from like 1080 to like 4K, right? You see your first 4K TV, you're like, oh, that's cool, but like it's not that much better than mine. And then you watch that shit for a month, and then you go back and you watch a regular TV after that. It looks blurry as hell. And you're like, whoa, how did I even live this way? That to me is like the difference of like veganism to eating the the animal foods, because
Yeah.
it's a slippery slope. You're getting slowly less capable. You don't really notice it, and then bam, when you do eat that food, you then come back up, and you can't imagine like not having it anymore. You know what I mean? Like I've been offered now to go back to eating vegan foods for 30 days because I offered Plantriotic that deal, and I'm
Right.
like, I've had to flat out tell the people who are interested in taking my offer, like, I'm not interested. Like, there's no way that I can even think about doing that, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I've worked too hard to get what I have now. I'm almost potentially curing this candida thing that I think I have. Like, that would be
It
taking a
would be
huge step
cool
back.
to get somebody to trade. Like, I think
Yes.
that would make the vegans at least publicly feel a little bit better about it. If Plantriotic did this experiment, but you would have somebody else that could sort of champion
I already have.
for him.
I already
you
have
do?
we're moving on. The boat's sailed without
Yes!
Plantriotic. We have
Oh my
and I'm glad that we're a little bit deeper into this. I did throw this out before you got on, but basically what I have is this kid in Australia who has made a video for me, who is willing to do carnivore for 30 days, but he is ethical, and he has been vegan for 6 years. He's had good results on veganism. He says he has no real reason to do it, but he's curious, and this is what I want. I want a curious, scientifically minded, healthy person that's willing to jump on board. And what I need now is I need a carnivore or an omnivore who's curious about veganism, who's already consuming animal foods, that wants to swap with them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get them on my channel. I'm going to interview them both. And I'm going to keep up with them for the 30 days and report any results. So it'll be the first public guinea pig experiment. You know, vegans, this is as good as it gets in terms of real life clinical data. Like, we are going to have these kids vlog their foods. We're going to make sure that they're really doing it for real. And then we're going to see what happens. You know what I mean? And 30 days might not be long enough, but it's a start. Like, maybe we'll get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a good start. Yeah, for sure. That sounds like an awesome project.
Yeah, it should be kind of cool. So producer Chris also commented, my problem is animals do not consent to be killed. This is the guy who gave us the chat about the cows. They never chose to be lower on the food chain. Knowing this, shouldn't we show them compassion? And I already have my answer for this.
Yeah, I mean, like, I totally understand, but again, it's like without that distinction between humans and animals, and that to reach our optimal health and nutrition, we must consume flesh, right? Like, if you don't make that distinction, it is really hard to argue. I'm interested to see what your argument back is to this idea.
Well, he says they never chose to be lower on the food chain.
Yeah.
So we did not choose to be higher on the food chain. So why should we be to blame for our biological nature? A lion eats a gazelle. Nobody blames them. Fucking crocodile eats a whatever antelope. Nobody blames them. We just happen to need to eat usually ruminant animals. In my opinion, I think they're the best. I think that basically cattle and humans coexisted for a long time together, and we've been eating this stuff for a long time, along with wild game such as deer and bison and elk and all this other stuff. I don't know. That's my take on it.
What you just said reminds me of something I heard another streamer. He's not really a vegan, but he basically said that in Europe, right? Like, there was for thousands of years, there's been like a cow and like a milk culture, and to just in this decade forget all of that, right? And it's kind of like, if you think about it, it has been the sort of the family cow, like the family that had a cow or had a small farm, that was around until maybe the 50s, when big ag came in and just, but that was a part of the culture, you know what I mean? So it's also like, when we go back to these foods, right? Not products, but foods, we're also taking back a certain aspect of our culture by doing that. And I think, if people think about it that way, there's a reason that people, like, every family would have had at least a few chickens and a cow. Maybe not every family, but there was a lot of family small farms. That's how most people were eating. And it's only been the last half century where now it's 1% of the population makes the food for the rest of the 99%. Like, that's a pretty crazy reality that we're facing,
Yes, and I guess we could segue a little bit here to kind of something we were talking about earlier about the idea of optimal health and fitness. We'll bring it back around to fitness a little bit. So fitness kind of gets a bad rap. It's kind of looked at as vain or unnecessary, or maybe humans aren't supposed to be big and strong or whatever. However, if you are at the point where your physical state doesn't allow you to gain fitness anymore, and you're not even at a adequate level of fitness to begin with, then what do you think your diet is doing for you, especially when you have the comparison to another diet that does allow you to achieve those things? In other words, you come off of an omnivore diet and then you go on a vegan diet and you know how you perform on omnivore, which is fine. And then you go vegan and you just can't seem to get the same results. Let's say your results are 70%. Let's say they're 80%. That seems to be good enough for some people like Happy Healthy Vegan, who's like a 6'5" tall string being guy. To him, being fit is being able to play basketball and dunk a basketball. That's cool. And that's not an easy thing to do, to run around and battle it out with young guys. I totally understand that. But if that's the maximum capacity for his fitness, and he couldn't gain muscle, and which he's not gaining muscle. I mean, he says that he does calisthenics. He's like, me and you do calisthenics, and we have more muscle mass than he does. I've only been working out consistently for 4 months.
Yeah.
You know? And
I've
it's
only
because
been back at it too, a few months.
And so and to cut back to what you said earlier, you had good results as a vegan. However, back in the day, what else were you doing?
Well, I mean, I was really, really into fitness. Like, I'm into like amateur bodybuilding, basically. Like,
Right.
besides stepping on a stage, like I'm all into it. So it's a little bit more than just fitness for me. But I did, I experimented a little bit. You know what I'm saying, with the what is it?
The VAR.
Vitamin S. Yeah,
Right.
my vitamin A. Right. I took my vitamin A. I've tried.
You were public about it back then.
Huh?
You were public about it back then, taking a little cream,
Yeah.
taking a little supplements.
For sure, yeah, cream and orals, right? And that stuff is, you can get great results with that. But yeah, I am like, even now, like I'm really into just the building muscle aspect of it. Like I'm doing calisthenics to try to build muscle, and I want to show people too that you can build muscle on calisthenics. Yes, I had a good foundation, but with this vegan, you keep bringing up the sort of the string bean looking vegans. I don't think that's really a natural, healthy, in my opinion, right? I see a lot of vegans. I'm not saying any particular one, but the sort of physique and the vegan aesthetic, if you guys can understand what I'm trying to say, to me, I'm not into it. I think that's probably, you can almost see like the malnourishment in some personalities that are online flaunting this stuff as if it were fitness. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. And well, that's the thing, is that they say, like, a lot of people, we talk about this, they don't have power in the gym. They don't feel like they can really pull it off anymore. So then they become a runner or a yogi, and they start doing this stuff that really is geared towards a really lightweight person. And they're like, well, look at how good I am now. And it's like, yeah, because you lost a bunch of weight, but compared to other people who are your size that are also eating meat, like Mark Tassie thinks that him being able to climb Mount Baldy is amazing. It's like, he weighs 110 pounds. And if you were to compare him to somebody who's eating meat that is also equally practiced in the sport that he's talking about, they're going to fucking smoke him up the hill. That's just the way that it goes, deal with it. And it's like you said, as far as being able to prove that you can gain muscle mass on a calisthenics program, I wanted to do that too. That was my whole goal when I first moved to Hawaii. I wanted to get into calisthenics and prove that I could gain muscle mass, and I couldn't even gain more than a couple pounds on whole food plant-based. Like, whole food plant-based is the worst diet on the planet for gaining muscle mass, period. I don't know. What's your experience?
I would definitely agree with that.
Did you ever
feel like now, because I'm not carnivore. I want to put that out there. I'm not carnivore dieter. I'm eating carbs every day. And I eat a lot of junk food, but that's just me, my metabolism. But since I've been incorporating animal products back in my diet for probably about 5 months now, 6 months now, something like that. I do feel fuller. I feel rounder. I feel like I feel like my potential is going to be reached because I'm back on a rational diet, for my physiology, because I was like rejecting my own physiology when I was vegan for 3 years, and I would do things like take protein supplements or eat. Like, I remember eating quinoa. I would have to eat so much quinoa, right, to feel like I was getting enough protein, and it was just absolutely ridiculous. How much carbs I was consuming or fats I was consuming just to get a little bit of protein. And vegans are doing this to themselves, and it's like, there's another way, and you don't have to, like, I'm not a carnivore, but I don't know. I feel a lot better. I do. And I feel like I look better because of my diet right now. And I'm only doing calisthenics, like, I'm not like trying to toot my own horn or anything, but like, I agree with you. Like if I was just doing calisthenics on a plant-based whole foods diet, it would be very hard to gain muscle. It would be extremely difficult to gain muscle doing that.
Yeah, like
could you do it with weights and like some Anavar? Yes,
right.
Probably.
Yes,
but
yes.
doing strictly calisthenics and whole food plant-based diet, that's why that's why some people, okay, you
can say any name you want on this.
I think Vegetable Police
stream.
hasn't made any progress in like 3 years. I'm just saying.
Even on the meat diet.
Well, I'm talking about like when he was vegan, he was doing his, remember he was like devoted to calisthenics.
Yeah, he wasn't making any gains at all.
Yeah,
and I said that to him on his channel.
For like 3 years,
Right.
So
yes.
It's just a good example, but
it's a great example. I totally agree. I had the same experience.
Shit, but...
No, that's fine, and I don't mind bringing up names because I think it's important for people to have reference points, and these people are putting themselves out there. They're public figures now, and that's what we need to talk about. So when I compare my results now, the last 4 months of what I've gained on meat or on primarily a carnivore-based diet versus 4 months when I first moved to Hawaii and I was on a truly whole foods plant-based diet, we're talking no protein powders, nothing like that. I was 135 pounds and I couldn't even gain past 136 pounds. Like I was capped and I was eating as much as I could, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now I'm eating 2 meals a day, no protein powder, and I'm still gaining more. Like I'm trying to cut, as I said, and it's not the easiest thing in the world. Like that's how much your body really retains muscle mass and targets fat loss rather than just all around weight loss. See, that's what vegans don't really understand is when they talk about weight loss, they're catabolic as fuck. They're just losing all their gains.
It's the state too. Like the vegans are definitely in a catabolic state. Like to be in a catabolic state, it's part of your lifestyle, right? We're trying to lead more like anabolic states, and animal foods will really help you stay there. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like they help me stay there. If I was doing the all carbs thing, like that's, I think why I've stayed pretty lean all this time is because I did get very used to consuming that many carbs and stuff. So my body processes them pretty efficiently, but, I kind of lost my train of thought there, but just like you don't like, if you're trying to gain muscle, right? For any of us, veganism is like it's a one-way track to a catabolic state, just having a sort of, for some people, right? Some people are going to gain weight on it, but that's another thing too, is like this is something I've criticized Harley about, is like it's just that aesthetic and that sort of goal to me is not optimal human potential, right? Can we agree on that or not?
I totally agree on that. And I don't think it's attractive. I don't think it's athletic potential. I don't think it's healthy. Yeah, I don't think anything is good about it. But he thinks that, and he's like, if girls could snap their fingers and have Natasha's arms right now, which are little toothpicks, he's like, that's what girls would want. I'm like, not every girl. Like, yeah, I get girls don't want that little flabby sack under their arm, but they don't want little pencils either. They want some curvaceousness. That's why girls go to the gym and spend fucking hours squatting these days and post it on Instagram. You know what I mean? Like that's all we need to do is look at social media. You don't have girls trying to basically eat low protein and starve their muscles off and then go ride a bicycle to starve it off even further. That doesn't happen.
It just doesn't sound healthy, It
doesn't. So we have a comment from Klaus. He says, when I do handstands a lot, this is like my favorite type of comment from like a vegan who's never spent significant time in the gym, never accomplish any type of like aesthetic physique. They're just like,
be nice. Klaus is cool. He's all right.
Blanket statement. When I do handstands a lot, I get hench, which I think is a British term for being buff. I get hench. It has nothing to do with my diet, for fuck's sake. And this is what Vegan Gains try to say, is that the diet has nothing to do with the gains. And so just, I want your opinion on it, and I'm going to explode on this one.
My opinion on Klaus's comment? Well,
yes. Just people thinking that you can just, more so people thinking that the vegan diet or an omnivore diet has nothing to do with your gains. It's just how you work out. That's that mentality. No,
absolutely not. It's mainly nutrition. Like people would be surprised how like little I work out. You know what I'm saying? If they really knew. Like sometimes I'm only hitting it for 25, 30 minutes, but it's the consistency and like, but yeah, that's my answer.
So this is my proof for you, Santa Claus, is when I first started working out, and I've said this before, and I'm going to keep saying it. Oh, we got Brighton Fuller in here. What's up, girl? Glad to see you in here. When I first started working out was 18 years old. I gained 30 pounds in 3 months. And that was not fat at all. I was eating 5 times a day, hella protein, meal replacements, the whole 9 yards, right? Coming from like a stick figure thin to like actually relatively, like I weighed more then than I do now. So how can you tell me that the diet has nothing to do with it when I spent 2 years as a vegan trying to get the results I had as an 18-year-old in 3 months? It doesn't add up. And that's the best test too, because that's my genetics versus my own genetics. I already know how to work out. I've been doing this shit for a long time. You know what I mean? And so the results that I've gotten this past 4 months since I started working out again, which was like New Year's Day, basically, you know, I'm only eating 2 meals a day, which I think is really healthy from the intermittent fasting standpoint. I also like a low carb approach. I think that's also healthy. So I'm trying to do it healthy and get good results. And I found a nice medium. No, I'm not gaining the most amount of weight that I possibly could or the most amount of strength that I possibly could, but I'm doing it in what I think is a healthier way overall. So this is a longevity aesthetic approach versus like the most results now approach. And what do you think about that?
Well, I mean, I want to call out Klaus. I feel like you're Klaus. I'm talking to you. I feel like you're denying the dense amount of quality nutrition, protein, fats, fat soluble vitamins, all of it. You're denying the dense quality nutrition in animal foods, and a lot of vegans do. You know, but it's all about diet. As far as what was the last point you were making about as far as like fitness and whether or not it's how much you work out, like how much output you're making or your nutrition, I would say it, you know, if you don't have the nutrition down, it's really, really hard to even like justify a workout at that point.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
You have to like this idea that we're going to eat processed grains, lab grown meats, you know, 35 grams of protein a day. To me, this is insane. It's going too far. You know what I mean? And that's why there's this huge like mass exodus, because people now are like, they're nervous because they're like, I've tried this. I know it's not right. I have to get out of this. You know what I'm saying? Like when you wake up and you realize you're on the wrong side of like the ideology,
Yeah.
I don't know. I moved pretty quickly. You know what I'm saying?
Same. I went from just thinking that actually it was a perfect timing for me really, because, and I'm interested to hear your exit a little bit actually too, because you said you've only been doing it for 5 or 6 months eating animal foods.
Yeah, hasn't been long.
So, and I've been doing it a little bit longer than that. But like my introduction to even considering something outside the vegan diet was basically Sean Baker on Joe Rogan's podcast and like these guys doing carnivore. And I had known a couple other vegans through the grapevine that I knew personally very well, Christine Salas being one of them. I knew she was kind of dabbling with fish and stuff like that. And she had some real health concerns. And, you know, I knew something was not right. And I was always bitter about the vegan food messing my teeth up. And just like other issues, like the digestion never got better. Like you said earlier, freely saying, "Oh, you might bloat a little bit, and then it'll go down." And you're a fucking skeleton, you know, waiting for that day to get better, and it just never comes, you know. And eventually, you can't justify it anymore because you're not getting the results. You don't feel good. Everyone around you is getting bad results. It's like you just like wake up. You're like, "Holy shit!"
And there's not just physical. There's also like psychological. You know, your diet and your microbiome in your gut, it really does influence your psychology, you know, and I think, you know, the vegans always say to carb up, but I don't know. I feel like they, a lot of them are just overlooking, you know, these pretty basic truths that animal foods have dense quality protein in them, right?
Let's talk about that specifically.
Where are you going to get that in a plant-based diet? You're not.
When you map out, like, let's say you even eat, let's say you even manage to get, I love all these vegans. Vegan Gains told me on the stream the other day, dude, I get 150 grams of whole plant protein, no problem. And I'm like, where do you get that? Like, powdered I tried so hard. So he was saying without protein powder. So, and I'm just calling bullshit on that. Basically, it's almost impossible. he was saying he was getting enough, basically like 150 grams plus or whatever. But
That's hard on a vegan diet. That's hard.
It's extremely
Every
hard.
day.
If you're being hardcore about it and you're eating like the most protein rich foods, you're talking 80 to 100 grams a day. Really, realistically.
Even that much, you think, on a vegan diet?
Well, what I used to do is I used to take a cup of dried lentils, which is worth 45 grams of protein right there. I'd eat that. I'd throw in some tomatoes and onions and stuff, and I'd basically make that meal into like a 50-gram protein dinner. And then, I would just have all hell to pay basically the next morning because that lentil just like it doesn't digest properly. And like that was, part of the beginning of the end for me. But specifically, vegans act like we don't know what the specific triggers are when it comes to why animal food is so good at building muscle. We do know. We know this shit, and we've known it for a long time. Leucine is an amino acid, which is not only is vegan food devoid of protein in general, but it is particularly devoid of leucine, which is a specific amino acid, one of the most important amino acids for triggering muscle protein synthesis. Go look this shit up if you think that I'm lying about this.
Leucine.
Muscle protein synthesis, leucine. That is the most important amino acid for growing muscle mass, and that's why all the vegan protein powders contain a large boost of leucine, disproportionate to what you would get in the diet. So you actually end up getting a decent amount of leucine when you do supplement with vegan protein powder. So all the bodybuilders making any type of gains at all as a vegan are using supplements. They are using protein powders, right? So, and then on top of that, I broke the news the other day that Vivo Life has a digestive enzyme supplement inside of it on top of that. So they're taking a digestive complex every time that they even use their Vivo Life protein powder, and they're all sponsored by it. They don't even fucking realize it. So these guys are all chugging down digestive enzymes on top of protein powder. Of course their digestion is better. Of course they're making gains now. They're supplementing to high hell. And then, of course, vegans will come through and say, well, that's better than killing animals, isn't it? And I just sit back and I think science, it just doesn't seem
What about absorption?
natural.
Because I'm trying to get to the bottom of this, but let's say you have, 40 grams of high quality protein in a steak, and then you have 40 grams of high quality plant-based protein in the form of quinoa or lentils or whatever. Isn't eating the meat much more efficient in absorbing that protein? Am I wrong here?
No, even vegans agree on this. They do accept that plant protein is harder to assimilate, but there's a huge estimate, a range estimate of what it actually is. There's still a debate on whether or not plant protein is as absorptive as the vegans claim it is, because they think it's about 85% compared to animal foods. Whereas some people are making the argument that it's as low as 30%.
But that's horrible. But
that's
even
horrible.
if it's 80 or 75%, that's still like 15% not optimal yet, And that's we're not even talking about, I've heard of this concept such as fat soluble vitamins. And if you're only eating a high carb, low fat vegan diet, you're missing out on micronutrients as well. So it's like all these things came up and, I just couldn't ignore it anymore. You know what I'm saying? And not to mention the carnivore channels that are sort of popped up on YouTube last year. But like, there's so much now that the vegans always tried to, I guess, make me think that all of this was already settled. And then you realize it's not. And it you know what I'm saying? It's really kind of, it shocks you into like wanting to take back control,
Well, someone presented a question to me today, and I wonder what your explanation for it. Because, well, first of all, did you have digestive issues as a vegan at all?
I can't report per se vegan digestive issues. No.
Okay. So this is what I'm trying to basically create a case study here. Not a case study. I don't even know. A poll. So anytime I come across a vegan or an ex-vegan, I say, did you have digestive issues? They say yes or no. Then I say, okay, you, like, for instance, you had no digestive issues. Do you know when you were a kid or throughout your life, how much antibiotics that you took? Are you aware of how much antibiotics that you took in your lifetime?
I definitely took antibiotics in my lifetime. I mean, I would say probably maybe 10 times my whole life I've been prescribed for some, as a kid and stuff. I don't know.
So you had it sometimes even pretty early on.
Yeah, I can remember taking antibiotics. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
When I was very young, I haven't taken them since I was like a teenager. I don't think I've ever taken maybe when I got my teeth pulled, but
Right.
why? Well, what's up with the antibiotics?
I've been noticing that the friends that I have that don't have digestive issues, typically they were not antibiotic takers as kids. A lot of them were breastfed as well.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of this like information, and you know, there's so many variables to it, and like the vegans want to act like it's a slam dunk.
Yeah.
Everybody should be able to do this, and it's like no,
it's
dude.
a one size fits all diet for like the entire population. And I've brought this up before. We don't got to get too deep in here, but I think there is genetic differences as well from person to person. And depending on your physiology and your metabolism, right? Like some people, right? Like maybe like Harley, they're going to feel great doing this, right?
Yeah.
And maybe they even think they look great. But I think we're seeing now that more often than not, Harley might be the, what's the word for it? The outlier. You know what I'm saying? Consuming that kind of diet and just doing that long-term to your body and surviving it. That might be the outlier. That might not be the, the thing that the masses should be doing.
I have this guy in the chat. He's saying, when you make that claim, provide the evidence between antibiotic history and digestive issues. It's an interesting proposition, but you need solid evidence. Well, that's what we're gathering here. We're gathering the evidence. You just saw me gather evidence,
you said
motherfucker.
You've talked to people personally.
Exactly. So, take a seat, keep your lip shut for a little bit.
Talking out of turn.
Talking out of turn. Garland Farms sent us a clip, and he really wants us to watch it, and I'm willing to do that. So let's take a little breather here, and let's throw the clip up, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Give me 1 second. Let me set this up. You can say whatever wild things you want to say to the chat.
Shout out to Garland. What's up, Primal Edge? Got Tristan. Thanks for watching, everybody. And for my people out there, like up the stream, support Drew, throw him a super chat. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you having me on. This is cool.
Yeah, no worries, man. I can't believe how. I really got to say, like, I don't know how you, keep up on every vegan channel, every stream. You must have
I don't
6
have a life.
monitors.
This is
you don't have a life.
This is all I do. I love it though. I love the vegan drama.
Yeah, I do. What would you say is your favorite thing about your lifestyle / hobby / job? Do you like? Is there any?
The fact that I'm still doing it, like when I even like, so many people want to see me like fail and just see me stop or see me get banned, and I just like that I've survived, And even after all this time, like my channel's not as popular as it was in the past, obviously, but I've been around for a long time and I still get a hella support. So it's like, I don't know. I'm really, really happy to be in the position I'm in, but I am doing it from a van now, but it's like a little, it's like a little room. It's like an office, on wheels. So as long as I have the place to stream and film the content, it's like, it's all good for me right now,
I do. We might want to get into this afterwards, but so I remember like a few months ago, you were like full on like street ridden though, weren't you?
I did sleep on the beach, for a few weeks. I did.
I was worried about you back then.
Really
I was
tough
like,
spot financially, and it was in a predicament,
But you made it through. Well,
I did make it through, and I haven't given up on, dude, I'm living the dream. It's like reporting the news and just having my audience and like having the free speech to be able to do this. We don't know. In 10 years from now, they may shut all the user generated channels down and we won't be able to do this. So I'm really grateful for like the platforms that we have and stuff. And it's just, I don't know, that's it. To me, it's like, that is living the dream. You know what I'm saying? Is being able to connect with like my audience every day is just, I love it. It gives me such a natural high,
I agree. I think what you do, although some people I know very well that I'm close to may not have always understood it.
It's a little awkward. I get it. Yeah.
But
we're getting friendly now. I feel like almost obligated. Now I have to be like, you know what I mean? It does. It changes your content when you like get to know people. And
it's like in sports, the refs can't be friends with the players.
You know what I mean? Like it's one of those situations. But,
well, I feel in a way. Well, I don't want to say that. I was going to say we're kind of in a similar situation as far as the way that our content is evolving. Like,
right.
I'm talking to people like, I don't know. I feel like I'm probably not the most fun person to present on anyways, although make videos about, because it's like, anyways, I'll just let that go. Maybe I will become a crazy
fun now
person.
that we know you own Honeybee. Like for the plot, that is just perfect. The
plot.
Carnivore who is influencing all these other ex-vegans owns Honeybee. I love it, dude. I absolutely love it. Like, I'm a big fan now because of that.
I got so much hate on my personal Instagram because I had Honeybee advertised in there, and they're like a carnivore advertising Honeybee.
Oh my God.
Like, it's like they're mad at you if you're making money off of them. They're mad at you if you're promoting them. They're mad at you if you made the damn app to begin with. Like, what do you guys want? Like, are you gonna buy the company from me? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
there's just, people are so clueless. Like, they don't understand how this stuff works. Like, okay, let me just dissolve my entire business overnight and throw it all away because I no longer do that. Like, I'm not making any claims that I'm not saying it's vegan owned anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. So, I'm going to play this video. Let's get the triple window going. Ooh. This is fun. So, Garland Farms, I hope you're still here, and we're going to play the video.
Veganism is an absolute bloodbath and torture train.
Whoa.
The annual number...
Why is it doing this? It's so weird.
Sometimes it skips when I try to make it full screen when I'm streaming for some reason. I don't know why.
It's very strange.
Truth be known, veganism is an absolute bloodbath and...
You know he's from the Midwest if he's calling it veganism. Hey, thank you, JG. Shout out to you. 2 favorite YouTube influencers. Wow, dude. The super chats are flowing today. They love you, dude.
That's awesome. I'm so happy for you.
Veganism is an absolute bloodbath.
Okay, this is not working apparently. I think I know what I need to do here. Anyways, we're gonna go back to this, and Charles, hold down the audience for a second.
Yeah, sure. I just want to shout out Ellie Methwich and Jenny. My people are in here. Garland Farms.
LA Methwich is tight. That's a real supporter. They're always around.
Yeah, they've been around for a minute. There's definitely some history there. They who else we got in here? Elise is still watching. Hi, Elise. I can't believe I'm unblocked on Instagram. This is a new phase we're moving into. No, but like, this is really great. I mean, your live stream is like the whole thing, like bringing all these ex-vegans on, and you're the one who's like, has that influence, like with the Hawaiian vegans, or at least, I mean, do you think that, like, do you blame yourself for all these people or do you think people are like, do you think people sort of scapegoat you, or do you feel responsible for, like Moon and Rock's decision and like your friends and stuff? I mean, what do you think?
I don't think that my results were, at the time that people started switching over, I don't think that my results were necessarily speaking for themselves yet.
Okay.
And I don't think that my influence as far as like who I am, like they're like, ooh, Drew's doing this, I'm going to do it too. That's not what happened at all. What I think happened was I did my damn research. I presented the research to them, and I was always the one to question everything while I was there in the first place. Always talking about like, hey guys, like, how's your digestion doing? Mine's messed up. Like, I was like flat out calling people out while I was a vegan. Like, there's no way your digestion's good eating fucking bowl of chickpeas and this and that. Like, mine sucks, Yeah. And everybody's kind of like,
the chickpeas did give me bad digestion. I do remember that.
Megan says, I am the Hawaiian carnivore father. So here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying here is, I am a good salesperson. All right. And I did present the information to everybody there at one point or another. Not that I pressured them, but I'm like, I'm doing this. I'm going in. Like, I remember living with Gitas, and people were pretty pissed that I was... Hang on, guys. I don't know if this video is going to work. That's why I'm stalling. These people were pretty pissed that I was even cooking in the house, cooking meat in the house. So, like, it didn't go over well in the beginning at all. Yeah. And then it wasn't until I left that everybody was, like, slithered their way into the meat store. You know what I mean?
So you were living in an all-vegan house, and you bought meat and cooked it there, and you were worried that, like, they were going to cut you off or, like, tell you to leave or something.
Well, it was my last month living there, and I knew that it was my last month. So, like, really, there was nothing anybody could do. But
it wasn't awkward. They ended up almost following suit, a lot of them.
No, at first it was not good. At first it's a long story, but there was this girl who was living in our house. Half the roommates were gone traveling the mainland. And then, so I had this one random girl living with us and this couple actually who was living with us. So like 3 people that I didn't normally live with, not anybody who normally lived there. So I was cooking the stuff there with them, but they were also all vegan and they were hella pissed that I was cooking food in the house, cooking meat in the house. And like, we're talking like full on, like stomping their feet around the house, taking all their belongings, moving it into their room, shutting the doors. They didn't want the smell of the meat onto their stuff. They gave me all kinds of attitude for days about it and were making me feel hella guilty and shitty about it to the point where like, I didn't even want to cook while they were home. And like, I felt super pressured. And like, I'm pretty like, fuck you to people when they're trying to get in my way, and I still maintain my stance, but like it was awkward for me, you know what I mean? And I was also the leaseholder on the house, so it's like it was like my fucking house, and these people that were like trying to reverse, guilt me into this situation. It sucked. It really was like a very uncomfortable couple weeks. Wow. But yeah, so long story short, I did the thing. I was eating the meat. I was cooking everything, and people weren't stoked. But at the end of the day, I told them, I said, hey, I'm doing this experiment for you guys also in a way. Like, you get to see what happens to a long-term vegan who's like paid attention to what they ate. Like, I chronometered all kinds of days of my life. Like, I ate so consistently, people have seen what I ate. And I also had decent vegan gains as well. Like, they were okay. They weren't nothing special, but anyway. Yeah, I got myself, Megan said, poor Drew got himself a tiny outside grill. Like, I was on such meager terms. Like, I couldn't cook in the house because there were such whiny people, which I understand. Like, if I was living in a vegan house, I wouldn't want people cooking animal foods either. But like, it wasn't their house. It was my house, Right. So yeah, I got like a little charcoal grill and I was cooking it outside, and it was like, I couldn't wait to get home and just like full on cook on our big ass grill here and do all that stuff. So anyway, let's see if this video plays. If it plays, it plays. If not, then we'll have to move on.
Bloodbath and torture train. The annual number of animals slaughtered and maimed in the name of grains, nuts, seeds, roots, tubers, fruits, and vegetables is absurdly gargantuan. Farmers routinely unleash an arsenal of deadly weaponry upon squirrels, rabbits, raccoon, mice, rats, possum, groundhogs, ground squirrels, moles, voles, deer, birds, turtles, frogs, bees, aphids, crickets, grasshoppers, worms, caterpillars, grubs, ants, and many, many more, who compete for the nuts, seeds, fruits, leaves, and tubers so sought after by the human herbivore population. Come harvest time, combines and harvesters unavoidably shred millions of living critters who are living and breathing among the crops. This is one of the things that vegans debunk. And again, they debunk it from the outside. They debunk it from never farming in their lives. They debunk it from never talking to farmers. They like somehow formulate through some online, information that they got. And now like Ryan from Happy Healthy Vegan will be like, it's just ridiculous. These weed harvesters, the carnivores. It's like, no. This is a real farmer here. You heard the Midwestern accent, guys. He is legit. Happy Healthy Vegan is a yuppie that lives in Long Beach, California, rides skateboards as a 50 plus year old man. This is not what we're talking about here. Okay. These are real people doing this real information with actual info. Like, we don't need to look at a paper study. This dude is telling you how it is, straight up. Cold, cold heart that can ignore the palpable suffering that's required to bring plant-based foods to the plates of culpable vegans around the world. Vegetable farmers begin their annual reign of hell on earth by tilling the soil. Tillage kills all sorts of soil life and completely disrupts a healthy soil horizon profile. Each time a farmer tills a field, massive carbon emissions are released from the soil, downgrading soil carbon and quality each and every time. This is the real driving force of global desertification. Then, to keep the vegetable and fruit heathens supplied with their fix, the farmers wage war against nature with the sides. Side is a suffix that means to kill, and boy do they. These vegetable
Vegans
and
love their
fruit farmers
semantics. I love that
spray
one.
and sprinkle indiscriminate bactericides, herbicides, insecticides, and
You're not 50,
rodenticides.
Primal Edge.
In addition to conventional chemical warfare, they also attack with live traps, steel traps, drown traps, pistols, rifles, shotguns, dogs, and grain grinders. All this killing is not just a one-time event either. This is an annual cycle of schizophrenic annual cruelty that repeats itself year in and year out, dealing out misery, bloodshed, and environmental havoc and chaos in the name of veganism. Meanwhile, one pasture-raised grass-fed cow can feed one human being for 3.5 years, while not sabotaging human health with the inflammatory excess of omega-6s, toxins, and anti-nutrients that plant foods bring to the table. It's pretty clear that vegans do not love animals. Vegans do not love people. They know that more animals are killed and maimed through veganism than any other way of eating, and yet they push harder, because their ultimate schizophrenic goal is to plow, pesticide, and genocide this planet into a sterile and lifeless has-been.
They would like that.
Thanks for watching.
That's
Hey,
a great
Jason.
production.
That is a great production. Jason, you know that. Jason Joseph in the chat, guys, he's my first vegan kill. See, I am also an omnivore assassin. I made people go vegan as well. So, you know, I've tried and get him to be unbrainwashed, but he is refusing. He is sticking with it. And by the way, he has good digestion. So if you guys have bad digestion, ask Jason how he does it. But yeah, so vegans, you guys know the Garland. Garland, thank you for that production. That was amazing. Very well produced. I love the voiceover that you've done. So what do you think of that? Any thoughts?
That's going back to like the hypothetical experiment that you got set up now, I guess. It's like, if it was more healthy, right? If a vegan starts consuming animal products and feels better, the goal is that like that would be a really big factor in somebody's motivation, is that, well, if veganism is less sustainable, that means that you have to like rethink everything. You have to rethink your entire ideology, knowing that these that all this produce, right, that all this agriculture is, number one, hurting the animals. Number two, it's not sustainable. It's going to turn us into a desert. And number three, if that's true, Garland Farms said that, one cow can feed a family for like 3 years. I'm not sure exactly what he's talking about there. Is like, would you like, slaughter it and put it in the freezer or whatever? But yes, that's pretty much the concept, is that these smaller family, like if we could even, I don't know how realistic this is, but if we could sort of, at least outside of the urban areas, right? If we could maybe promote some sort of like, or at least support some sort of family farming culture re-emerging in the United States or re-emerging in Europe or whatever. I mean, that's why these questions are so interesting to me. And I just think he did a really good job with that video. Like, it was just the information was there. Again, I don't know, like maybe he's exaggerating on some of the arguments and stuff.
Sure. We don't know yet, right?
He could be a little bit biased, but I know
Sure.
Garland Farms. I'm pretty familiar with what he's doing. I've actually mentioned him a couple times on my channel. So like, I think he's legit. I think he's definitely, I think he said he's I think he's a cattle. He raises cattle, right?
I'm actually not sure on his history, but I'm backing him just for the accent.
Well, I'm pretty familiar with what he said before. I think he's involved in the industry, more involved than the average viewer is going to be. So,
for sure, yeah.
One grown cow can feed one person for 3+ years. Yeah, I mean, if that's true, like it's, can they reproduce that on an industrial scale though, or is that like, that's what I'm kind of interested in, is that if you were like, if you had a family farm and you were slaughtering your own cow, or could one cow potentially feed like a person for 3 years on like the industrial scale? I don't know, but the whole thing is interesting to me. I'm kind of like, I'm super excited about it all, but
this, of course, it all goes back, and I know why there's a whole host of people out there who like to argue the veganism versus meat eating thing from that perspective. But again, when we go back to like what I want to focus on, which is ground zero, which is getting the health dialed in. So like from my perspective, I'll say it right now. I don't care about sustainability.
Okay.
And people are going to clip that and they're going to take that out of context.
But for this convo, yeah, I get it.
This conversation, it's like we need to focus on how we can feed 7 billion people right now. We're worried about like 2060 when we're not even healthy right now. You know what I mean?
Right.
And this is, I'm not saying that the factory farming is the best. I'm not saying that the processed foods and the garbage that most people are eating is the best. It's obviously not very good. And yes, veganism is better than the standard American diet. I want to be clear on that. But the point is that the vegans want to go to a way which is potentially like 70% optimal. I'm still searching for 100% optimal, and they're trying to make people feel bad about that. They're like, well, right. I can dunk. Like, you should be able to, like, you can do whatever you need to do. Like, why do you need to be 20 pounds heavier than you are right now? It's like, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Like, you wondering this about me has nothing to do with it. Like, for me, I want to be 100% healthy. I don't want to be 70% healthy, because I'll tell you why. Once you become 60, 70, 80, 90 years old, you don't want to be fucking around with 70% health potential. You're doing everything you can to stay alive. So why not figure that out now so that you sort out those issues or have a better medium to end of life situation? Like, I'm thinking that far ahead now, which is why I went vegan in the first place, because I saw my grandfather have a heart attack and fucking die. You know what I mean? And he was a skinny guy. So for me, it's like, it's very real. Like, you can die, and a lot of people don't have this experience where they've been close to somebody and seen their health just completely evaporate, you know? Like, I've seen friends' parents have cancer and just gone in a month, you know? And stuff like that. So it's just arrogance, again, on the vegan side, where they don't think that they need this health potential. They don't need this optimal fitness potential. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, you made a comment underneath, I forgot what video it was, but what you said that I'm going to quote is, you were saying that the vegan diet, you were not able to achieve the ultimate health that you deserve. That you basically said, I wasn't able to achieve the optimal health and fitness level that I deserve. And that's what it comes down to. All of us, in our own right, as like a human, and we're all supposed to have intrinsic value. We all deserve to consume the nutrients that is going to put us at our optimal levels with health and fitness. And anybody that's going to argue that, it's like, I don't even think you could debate somebody like that, because that's just so nihilistic in and of itself. All of us deserve. What
they end up saying is, I'm perfectly healthy, I'm perfectly fit. But then again, I go back and I say, you never tried to get healthy or fit before you went vegan. You went from shit diet to veganism. Of course, that was better. Of course, veganism is better than standard American diet where you're 250 pounds.
And that's where a lot of people demonize the animal foods themselves, because they say, well, I already left that, we left the standard American diet. They're associating animal foods with the standard American diet. And I think that's a huge hump that the vegans haven't really gotten over, or some of these, ex-vegans that are inevitably going to come out. That's one of the humps, is that, like, they like, you see what I'm saying? They need to,
we have a new understanding
first.
We have a new understanding. We got new technology here, guys. We got new dietary tech. All right. It's not 10 years ago. Like, Kino Body blew up intermittent fasting on the internet. Yeah. All of a sudden, people started looking deeper into intermittent fasting. People started getting interested in this. Like, I don't know about your experience with it, but it makes sense from a scientific perspective. As far as health is concerned, I mean, we should be thinking about our meal frequency probably even as much as we are thinking about the type of food that we're eating. You know what I mean?
Right. Because it's that, like, the vegans, they're associating animal foods with unhealthy fast food. Like, I already left this is what's making people fat. But it's not the animal products it's not the animal foods themselves that are making people sick on the standard American diet. It's this processed, corporate slave slop. But so I think that distinction needs to be made for the vegans. It's that, they'll say, because they'll say, well, the World Health Organization says that a plant-based diet is good for everybody, and they'll say that
That's my
they'll be
favorite
like,
line.
yeah, like they'll use all of these authoritative sources to say that that people are having health issues because they're eating animal foods, but they're having health issues, right? Like the doctors that have reversed what have they've like reversed type 2 diabetes and reversed like coronary artery disease and stuff. Those people, those patients, they were not eating just animal foods. They were eating
Right.
processed American standard diet. But the vegans will still say that, oh, well, we were able to reverse these people's heart disease and they were eating animal foods. That's what made them sick. But no. There's a distinguishment that, you have to call them out when they they'll try to argue that point with that without
Right.
making that distinction. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And I actually have a comment from somebody. Ashley Stevens says, I was eating incredibly healthy before I went vegan and felt no different. Drew, you act like all vegans are unwell. Okay, so I need to comment on this. Not all vegans are unwell short term. Most vegans fail. I would even put a percentage on it. If you really added up everybody and you started looking at the numbers, I'm willing to say 70% of vegans fall off by year 5.
Yeah.
By year 10, we're talking less than 10% are still on board.
Yeah.
And then those that make it a lifetime, the rest of their life as a vegan, we're talking less than 1%, guys. Let's just keep it really, really real here. And you saying that you felt no different, that's fine. That's still not proving anything, because, and this is what I love about the chats that I've been having lately with vegans that are willing to come on and talk, is because they're starting to admit that 1-10% of people can't be vegan for whatever reason. And that little chink in the armor right there has blown the doors open, because they were under the assumption that 100.0% of everybody can do veganism. We're designed to eat this food. It's a species-specific diet, all that stuff, right? But as soon as they have admitted that 10% can't do it, well, that ruins the entire argument from so many levels.
Right.
You know?
It can't be a one size fits all if even 10% can't do it.
So then it becomes the question, how do you know if you're the 10% or not? How do you know if you're 10%? And yet we have all these people falling off the diet. It's like, okay, well, maybe we're actually thinking about it. It's the reverse. It's more like 90% can't do it and only 10% can do it. And they do it suboptimally anyway. And, we know why. It's not even a secret why it's not working. We pretty much know why it's not working. And we know how people are fixing it rapidly once they're done. And then you got channels like Vegan Deterioration that are pointing out people's eyeballs sinking in the back of their damn heads.
I wanted to ask you about that. I mean, do you think this is really happening? Is that what we're seeing? Like, are we seeing veganism itself, causing that type of
I 100% believe it. And this is the thing. So when you start talking about degeneration, you're not talking about weight loss or weight gain. You're talking about like collagen depletion. Yeah. You're talking about muscle tissue, like bone density depletion, degeneration. Like, these are the things that are happening behind the scenes. It doesn't happen to everybody, and it happens at different rates. However, when it does happen, you do not reverse it while on the vegan diet. And this is a distinction that I don't know her name, but Vegan Deterioration, the woman who runs that channel, makes. She has never seen anybody reverse those symptoms while still on the vegan diet.
Right.
So that's very important to understand. It happens at its own rate, and you might be able to fend it off, but it doesn't mean it won't happen in the future. And once it does happen, there's no reversing it for you while on the vegan diet. And
there's another symptom, and the reason I wanted to ask, I was thinking about this a little while ago to ask you about the vegan sunken eye syndrome thing, because and to see what you thought about it. But another symptom possible symptom that I've noticed, and I want to see what you think about this, is you can see it in the shoulders, especially in men, but in women as well. You can see it. You can see the sort of end stage veganism, I guess, if that's an actual concept, in the shoulder area, and they'll almost have like where there should be shoulder caps. Sometimes there's even like an indentation, and that to me is not a healthy look. I'm not going to call anybody out by name, but have you noticed, like, do you think the shoulders or like as far as how thin your arms are, do you think that could could that point to how healthy somebody is or is not? Like, what do you think about that? Am I just overthinking it?
Like, so yes, I have definitely noticed this. I call it the 90-degree vegan shoulders, the fruit shoulders. It's like
fruit shoulders, sure, yeah.
It's literally just a 90-degree angle. Like, there's no pop here on the side.
Yeah.
And people will be like, well, John Venus. I'm like, okay, listen, John Venus hasn't degenerated in that specific way yet. He also came into the diet with massive fucking shoulders.
Right.
So like, he has probably years and years and years to go before you're going to even see that symptom on him because of the way that he started out. You know what I mean? And even his own genetics.
Vegan, but these high carbers, these fruit vegans, like,
yes,
I've noticed
it's a typical symptom.
Lot. It's
like, you see their t-shirts are basically hanging off their shoulders, like as a coat hanger. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's definitely a sign of physical degeneration, in my opinion. And you even see it on some of the ones that do work out. Like, that's the thing, is that I'm sending myself a picture right now.
Out, and she, like, I'm just shocked when I see her frame, it's like, to me, it looks like it's thin as fuck, but
I'm sending a photo of myself, I'm going to pull it up on my third monitor in a second here. Basically,
it could be vegan degeneration.
Absolutely, because here's what happens. I lost all of my weight on a juice fast and on and doing raw. So I went down to 133 pounds at my minimum as a vegan, which is extremely tiny.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the thing, though. I gained that weight back up to 156 pounds. But my face never reflected the weight gain. So in my opinion, I had that degeneration going on in my face after losing everything, and I could not gain it back, even though I gained the actual physical fat mass and weight mass back. You know what I'm saying? So once you lose it, it's very hard to get that fullness in your cheeks back, that puffiness, that the fat around your eyelids here. That stuff all just disappears. And I'm pulling it up on my second monitor here. Give me a second.
A lot of people this past summer, they noted, like, if you go back and look at my videos from, like, even, I don't know, August, I was sunken in, and that was like right around the time I was for leaving this vegan thing. But by the very end, I think I did sort of have a hard time keeping weight on in my face.
Yeah,
I totally relate to what the experience you just.
No, you look 10 times different now than you do.
People tell me that, yeah,
dude. You look now how you did when you back in the day with the fucking the bleach hair. But 3 months ago when you were living on the beach, you didn't look so good, man. Like, you were
I was
heavily recovering.
Sunken in. And I think you could experience, like facial degeneration, right? The lack of collagen and stuff. I think that's a very real thing. And
another thing too, we talk about it too.
I can look at it,
And there's a dryness to the forehead as well on vegans that go long term, and I had it for sure on this. It's like these lines here become very indented, and they stay there. They don't like disappear. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, there's no juiciness to it. No. I'm just saying, it's while you're vegan, it becomes like almost rough, like lumpy and rough. On the forehead specifically. So here we go. I'm gonna pop up a picture of myself. Check it out. So that was me at 155 pounds or so. That's 10 pounds heavier than I am right now. And my face, like, even around the beard area, around the sides,
I see that,
is more sunken in. Like, if you look at this angle here, like from my cheekbone here down to this angle here, it's more angled like this. My face is angled like this rather than like a fucking jar, like it should be more like straight up and down.
Right.
But in this photo, you see me, and I'm even like, jaw clenched. I was even growing my beard out thicker on the sides and around the mouth because I was trying to make my face look wider. And even these days, like, I have my beard, I just trimmed it today. So you'll see more of a of a natural representation of the way my face looks now. I hope that I'm starting to regain some of that. But this is a good example. Like, to me, this photo is like one of the ugliest photos I've ever taken of myself. Like, it shows all of the cases of degeneration. Whoa. I don't know why I did that, but you see, look at my forehead there. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
Do you see how rippled and lumpy that is?
Yeah.
You can even see it in the light. And that's never been, if anything, I've been an oily person, you know, my whole life. So for me to have that on my face, it doesn't add up. And dude, I was not feeling myself back then. And again, the angles of my face were changing, and I just felt everything getting smaller. It just wasn't a good feeling.
Yeah, no, I've definitely suffered from that really skinny face thing. And I do think, like, looking in hindsight now, I guess reporting about it in this moment, it could have been like because of my diet. And people used to I used to get trolled hard about like just how skinny my face was. People would say like, you're on drugs, you look like shit, you know, and like, I can look at my videos from this past summer and like, I can't believe how skinny my face looked. It was, you know, it's not a good look. I feel like I look better now. I'm happy with the way my face has filled out by incorporating dairy, beef. I don't really eat chicken. I eat turkey and tuna. By incorporating those products or those foods, we still here?
No, you're good.
Skip.
Yeah.
Incorporating those foods has helped to fill out my face 100%, especially the cream.
I think that, in my opinion, and this is just purely a judgment from watching your videos through the last several months, is your face has like recovered incredibly. Like,
I think so. Yeah. Like, people have been telling me that. I've been getting a lot of that kind of,
because you're still really lean around the shoulders. I've been paying attention to the shoulder caps and the striations and everything else. And, you know, and I know that
too fat, you know what I mean? But it's like that my face was sucked in, like you're talking about in that picture you just showed us. And I'm thinking about it now, you know what I mean? But it's like, it's real.
Pull up old pics and then just look at yourself and see all the selfies and just like really look at it.
Before and after, and post on Instagram soon or something. But yeah, like I and you see that look, like it's like Harley.
He's just like completely sucked in.
If you brought him in right now, you can see. In my opinion, you can see the veganism in his face. You know.
Well, he'll tell you it's just leanness. He'll tell you it's just sun, and there's really no way to know. You know.
There's no way to know, but I can choose to say, like, I'm happy with what I'm eating, the nutrition I'm putting into my body. I'm happy with how I look now. I can choose that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And somebody said that mewers are jealous of your face structure. And again, genetics plays such a big role in like how people gain weight, how people are like their athleticism and their muscle building potential. And you've got that square jaw face to where it's like, you are going to definitely make gains no matter what diet you're eating. But like, is it as good as the meat diet compared to the vegan diet? When, you know, if you were to compare your own self, like, I think that you would say like you've regenerated your face on meat product or on meat foods and you've
meat and dairy. I think
meat and dairy.
I consume dairy cream every morning pretty much with coffee. So
sorry.
That's why I just wanted to stress that I have cream in my diet.
So we're going to pop into the chat now, I think, unless you had any other topics to really fire off.
No, we'll go ahead and, let's look at the chat and hang out for a minute. That's cool.
Megan said, curious if y'all had any gallbladder issues after doing so low fat and switching so drastically. What would you say to that?
Yeah, not me. I haven't experienced any gallbladder. I wouldn't know what that feels like. There was an issue where I thought I had a urinary tract infection back in January, but I think it was actually I had too much dairy. Right, it was right when I was starting to eat a lot of dairy again, and I ate like 3 or 4 pieces of cheese, like real cheese pizza, and I had the cream that day. And my viewers will remember this, but like I had, because I made a video about it. It was I think I was just plugged up or something. I don't know exactly what that was, but
you had constipation or.
Well, I felt like I had a urinary tract infection. I never really had one of those before, but like I think it was the dairy and stuff. I was really like plugged up and I didn't drink enough water, and that's what I think it was, because dairy can cause. I've read that dairy can cause, like heavy dairy can cause, especially if you're not used to it, can cause, problems with your tract and your kidney. But I I wouldn't know what that would feel like. What do you think, Drew?
I think it's on your left side. I think I had an issue with this while I did my juice fast, but I didn't transition from super low fat to a heavy fat diet right away, because if you remember, Megan, and like the last year that I was in Hawaii, I was eating peanut butter and tons of soy milk. I was eating more like 20 to 30% of my calories from fat. So I wasn't doing like a super, low fat diet in terms of like what the vegans would say, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So I kind of transitioned a little more gently in that case, but I did have diarrhea a few times the first couple weeks that I went carnivore, and then it just cleared up right off, cleared up within a week or two, and it was really good. So here's something I think will be interesting. So vegans, if there's any vegans watching, relay this to your vegan kings and queens. Okay, what I'm going to offer now is some negatives of what I've experienced on going back to the diet that I've chosen to do now, which is a primarily carnivore diet. And if you want to offer some like downsides or negatives that you've noticed, if there are any, maybe there's not, but if you've experienced anything, let's share that. So at least we're giving them as balanced of a viewpoint as we can, so that they can take it back to the drawing board and they need to have something to chew on, basically, because if we just go and we say veganism just completely sucks, which it does, and we have no issues on the omnivore diet, there's no issues with carnivore, it's perfect. That sounds stupid. There's got to be something, even if we have to search for it a little bit, to give them something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I think I've even kind of in jest called you out on this, or some of the other vegan to carnivores, because I do feel like a lot of times people get excited on the internet about their diet and they proclaim that it has all these amazing benefits. But you want me to start real quick? I think
Sure.
I do have one example.
Yeah.
So I've been talking about dairy a lot in this video, because I think the heavy cream, for me, intuitively, it was just sort of like, to quote Raw Alignment, it was the thing that was just sort of calling my name. So I went to heavy cream, but I will say this: I think dairy is iffy in eating too much of it. If I drink milk, for some reason I can tolerate a little bit of cream, but if I drink milk, like a glass of milk or a bottle of milk, and I've done this recently, it will 100% give me diarrhea the next day. So
even raw milk?
I haven't tried raw milk, to be honest with you. I have not tried that. So I'm going to have to, that's my homework. That'll be my homework.
For sure. I'm very curious about that.
Yeah. So, and also I want to say that with a lot of cheese, when I do that, that's when I start feeling like I have urinary tract infection issues. So for me personally,
what are your symptoms with your urinary tract infections? How does that?
It feels like you're pissing blades. Now I only have one kidney, so maybe the dairy is harder for me to process, but yeah, that's happened to me a couple of times where I ate cheese pizza and I felt sort of one time it was really, really bad, and I sort of tested it again and I got the same sort of sensation. So for me, dairy has been a little bit of a problem and an issue, and I have some homework to do. So that's there's my example.
Okay, I think that I'll offer basically dairy is an interesting one, because I freaking love milk. Out of everything, it's probably my favorite.
It's so
item.
good. Yeah.
So good, so satisfying, provides basically everything. It's like the what I wish juicing was, basically.
Yeah.
So when I drink store-bought milk, definitely gives me constipation, and also gas as well. The constipation isn't a serious issue unless I'm trying to do OMAD, which I don't recommend anyways, unless you're obese. I don't think OMAD is worth doing unless you're obese, or you can get in all your calories in one meal. Don't kill yourself getting all your calories in one meal, because it's not very comfortable for most people. So a lot of people think it's this holy grail of the way to intermittent fast, is to do OMAD, but I disagree. I think that you should just more comfortably, I think an 8-hour window per day is probably fine for everybody. Mm-hmm. Now when I do OMAD and I do milk, constipation, I cannot do that. So that's the one thing. Oh, it's not good at all. It's the worst constipation I've ever had in my life, ever.
I just think that's so interesting, person to person in this.
Yeah, because you have diarrhea, right?
Constipation for you, and I can't say the same. So,
but that's with store-bought milk. If I do raw milk, there is less to no constipation.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
that's a variation between us. Interesting right there, right? So that's already
Yeah.
showing some variation in the way that we tolerate things.
Right. Exactly. That's why we pointed out.
And I'm going to give one to Vegetable Police as well.
Okay.
Not that he pointed out anything amazing, but he did make the comment that one day that I am like tired or whatever. So I'm not tired at all, ever. I'm never tired. I never have physical like tiredness or weakness or anything like that. But while doing carnivore and cutting at the same time, your brain just doesn't work very well. And that's the one thing that I'll have to fully admit is that there is no magical formula when it comes to cutting calories, especially at the state that I'm at right now, whereas like I'm getting down there. Like, you know, I don't have a whole lot of muscle mass to lose, so I can't go forever, but the amount of fat that I have to go, I mean, we're right there at the end of the fat. And what I've had to do basically is keep an eye on my calories, shooting for like 15 to 1600 a day. And I'm walking on top of that. And when I do strictly carnivore on that, it sucks. Like all I'm thinking about is carbs. I really need some carbs with each meal. And my brain is like, it's like starting to short circuit a little bit. You know what I mean? Like I even misspelled your name in the title today. Like I just make these like very small sort of calculatable errors. You know what I mean? But when I eat, that just goes away. So that's the one thing is that, you know, and I know the Vegetable Police isn't part of the vegan community per se, but I'm just saying, like, I'm throwing it out there. I try and be as transparent as possible. I don't give a fuck. Like, the quicker I get this information out to people, the less they can make a video about me and talk shit later on. Like, I'm out in the open because I want to learn the information and I want to see what other people are also bringing to the table. And the quicker that we share this stuff without trying to fit into some group or whatever, that's going to benefit everybody the most. So really, we're all part of this little experiment that's going on.
Yeah, I want people to feel comfortable sharing. Like, even if it's like through comments or maybe you're a content creator, like we should facilitate, you know, an air of acceptance, at least tolerant enough where we can listen to, you know, because like I said earlier, we have so many reference points, and I'm grateful for that I can come online and, you know, get so much, so much perspective from different individuals, you know.
Yeah, and again, I think that the vegans are starting to wake up because there's so many people leaving that particular lifestyle diet for health reasons. And the ones that are still in it are like grasping for dear life, basically trying to keep other people. And, you know, that I hear it from vegans or even, I hear it from current vegans. I hear it from ex-vegans, like the shit that they took from other vegan friends or whatever, or like even social media people that are just flaming them because they wanted to try animal foods. And like, I just want people to have that opportunity. Like, hey, this is working for a lot of other people. So you can try it and make your own mind up. If it doesn't work, go back to the plants, right? Simple.
Yeah. I'm gonna make a before and after with my face degeneration so people can see the, you know, because that's a real tangible example.
That'll be very good. If anybody has any questions, start shouting them out right now. It's about the time that me and Cheetah, Mr. Cheetah, are going to be taking some questions and answers. Now, where do you think you're going with your channel and all this stuff? Like, are you just going to keep reporting on the vegan dramas? Is that the direction you enjoy the most, or like? You know, because you're trying to get into some of this high level, you know, health stuff. This isn't TMZ shit. This is like, you know what I mean? Like you're getting involved in the great debate now, and that's a different story. You know.
And listen, I really appreciate you, bringing me on to talk about this stuff. Yeah, I really, I appreciate the work that you're doing on your channel. You know, you've got some very good streams. The workout stream. I was hanging out in the chat. I was kind of editing a little bit, but I do like what you're doing. It's interesting. And obviously you have a big influence, you know, with a lot of people and their diets and stuff. But as far as like the direction, what's really cool now is that we don't only have vegan drama, we have like carnivore, the whole like diet and nutrition genre for me is sort of like the niche that I just feel at home at, you know what I mean? And I love the people in it, and I know like I make controversial videos sometimes, but like at the end of the day, I have so much fun with just the online community and just following it. And so that's what I'm going to continue to do, is really just follow this. There's going to be more detractors, I'm sure, with the ex-vegans, and we're going to see carnivore channels. Your channel is is starting to pop, and we're going to see new fresh content, and I just want to be a part of it in my small way. And so my plan is I'm going to hang out in LA this summer. I got the van. I'm going to be hanging out here. I think my dad's kind of old, so I want to go visit him. He lives in Virginia, so I might go to Virginia for a few months, like in September. But I think for now I'm going to lay low, hang out here in the van, broadcast, and just keep making some ex-vegan gains.
Well, LA is going to be a fun place for the summer. If you haven't been here, it's going to be good. So Really Organic actually posed a question, and I don't think I asked you this earlier, but I meant to. I think it was when I had that brain fart earlier. Now it's coming back. She said, why didn't you guys try vegetarianism instead? Why go all the way to meat from veganism? Why not stop in the middle? So what's
She's asked me this several times. Yes. It's a legit question.
It is a legit question. And I don't have anything specifically bad to say about vegetarianism. Like my question, I guess, would be, why not meat?
I don't enjoy eggs, to be honest with you. And I also don't I'm not cooking, obviously, so I can't cook eggs. I could drink raw eggs, but I'm just not a huge fan of eggs. For my personal digestion, I feel like they make me gassy, and my farts smell like fucking horrible.
Even if you just eat them by themselves, or like all meat, all animal foods.
Well, I might do it in fried rice, right, at the Chinese food place.
Right.
I watched a video from you one time, and you had said that there was a Chinese place in Hawaii that you were eating that like every day. And that's how I am. Like when I find a good Chinese place, I'll go there for like weeks on end. So I might eat some egg there, but like, I don't know. I don't know. I think vegetarianism, that would leave me with dairy. And like I said, it's iffy.
Yeah, you're having issues already.
Yeah, I'm having issues, at least with the regular industrial dairy, so that I have access to. So I guess that's my answer right now. Yeah,
I answered her actually today on her channel. But for those interested, it is a good question. I like it. Again, my first question would be, why not meat? So like, I know that you don't like to eat your friends, the cows. The cows aren't my friends. They're cute. They're wonderful creatures. They're majestic, but they are our food, in my opinion. They're our optimal food, in my opinion. So I think we should eat them. But another thing that's more direct, that doesn't allow me to even have that option, is the fact that while I eat a lot of plant foods, I seem to have like less than optimal digestion as it is right now. Like if I were to eat, a steak with a big side of kale, because this is what I was doing in the beginning. Like I would have a big side of steamed kale and thinking I was like kind of mixing it up, keeping it optimal. Like what's wrong with a bunch of kale, right? Well, I would have like sharp pains in my stomach for like the next few hours, on and off. It wasn't horrible, but it was like enough where I had to I figured it out. I was like, it's the fucking kale. So I took the kale out and I had no issues. Right. So I'm like, okay, plants just need to take a back seat for a minute, and I'm just going to eat all animal foods for a while and see how this goes. And it worked really good. So that's what I would have to say to that. Mark Busquet wants to keep pestering about this, I guess, plant-based news, wants to know about 2016 Veg Fest. What's the story there?
Well, I wasn't around for the 2016 Veg Fest. I think that was the one that Freely and Durian Ryder went to. That was the year they went. The next year, though, for me personally, was kind of a fuck fest. I feel like they gave me the runaround, but I think I was there, though. I went to the 2017 Veg Fest. I haven't been in a while.
Where's Veg Fest? In LA, or is that?
Yeah, Veg Fest LA. If that's what they're talking about. Yeah, that's the only one that
he said Veg Fest, so.
Yeah. So it's a big event, though. It's like a vegan event. I think Mr. and Mrs. Vegan used to be really involved in it when they lived out here. The Nelson's Veg Source, they are pretty involved in there, or were. At least Nina and Nelson, I think, usually speak there. So it's it's a big vegan event. And I don't know. I'm not sure what, that's all I know.
It seems like they had some sort of insider knowledge, or were hoping for some sort of.
That was the year Tim Sheaf gave me an ethics shirt. It was me and Klaus and Tim Sheaf, I think, hanging out at Veg Source's house, and Tim Sheaf gave me one of his ethics shirts, and I remember I had made videos about him like drinking piss and stuff, so I trolled him a little bit, but he was really, really nice to me. He was nice to me and my girlfriend at the time, and like he was just, yeah, Tim Sheaf's, I really like Tim Sheaf. He's a cool dude. He does a lot of crazy shit, but Tim Sheaf's a cool dude.
I totally agree. I'm so happy that I got to spend like some serious behind the scenes time. Yeah, I mean, because a lot of people, there's people that I know that were, you know, while we were all still vegan, that were like, oh, Tim's a weirdo. Like I've been around him, and he was like real off-putting around me, and like
I didn't have
like,
that experience at all.
I'm like, I mean, Tim is just not gonna. He's not gonna like pander to people. Like he's not going to act super buddy friendly to people who aren't like that interesting to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's not that type of way. So people have that. That's just my take on it. But anyhow, if anybody has any more questions, let's get them in, and we will probably wrap up shortly.
Yeah, because it's getting starting.
It's getting dark. We always do this to everybody. It's like we get them in there. Like Tim, it was like getting dark and close in, and he's running.
No, the reason
I
was putting this off so long is because I was in a Ford Explorer. I was like sleeping in the back of it, but like I don't know. I would have had to sit in the front seat, and I was just like, I'm gonna get a van in a couple weeks, so I was like, I'm gonna try to hold everybody off till then. But I had a lot of fun. I mean, this was great.
Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna have obviously I'm gonna keep streaming. I mean, this is what people seem to want. So you know, we don't. This doesn't have to be the last time that we do this either. So we can like pop in and do like
do Harley. I want to see you do Harley again. That was awesome. I love the Harley streams.
Yeah.
Have him on again just for shits and giggles.
Harley is a good person to have on. See, I want to get it to the point where we start having 2 or 3 people on.
Yeah. That'd be
so
cool.
It's like a round table effect, and everybody gets to like, you know, interact, because it makes it easier to interact with the chat, and also like talk, you know, to have a more than, because having a one-on-one conversation, you can't sit there and read the screen. It's very hard. Somebody says, please emphasize the point that raw dairy doesn't equal factory farming. Hormone and antibiotic injected GMO grain-fed pasteurized homogenized dairy. Same for meat. Big disconnect for most people. Yeah, I think most people actually know that now. Even the vegans are starting to wake up to that. They're starting to understand that there is a difference between the factory farming and the conventional farming versus, you know, grass-fed. And they like to say, like, they go after these like scapegoat people, and they say like organic grass-fed beef isn't a real thing. Like these regulations don't mean anything. And it's like, man, shut the fuck up. Like I watch videos on YouTube where the farmer calls in his cows, a whole herd of cows, shoots one in the head, and then they cut it open and they do the whole process right there in the video in 10 minutes. Like that's how it's done on real grass-fed places. I don't care about the Earthling Ed, you know, like PSYOP piece where they go in and they find some place. That's another dude that what's your take on that guy, man? I gotta hear that. You need to make a video about this guy.
Propagandist, obviously. It's the same as your opinion, probably. I think he's a vegan propagandist. Didn't he the one that went to a school recently pushing vegan propaganda? And you know, he's a militant vegan, obviously, and he's probably a leftist ideologue. So that's my opinion.
Definitely. And it's something I want to point out too in this stream is the way that he delivers his message. See, people are drawn to him because they think that because he delivers his message in a way that's non-confrontational and non-offensive, that it somehow means that he doesn't have some sort of alternative agenda. What I want to point out to you guys that aren't keen on this stuff is this is presentation psychological warfare 101. The way that he delivers his message is like in this really like soft, like motherly, nurturing tone. He's like very neutral with all of his words, all of his sentences, the way he speaks and the way he stands even. He stands there with his arms to his side, super neutral, right? Like, and with his hands on and his hands out, his arms like this. He stands there pigeon-toed. Yeah, it's just like, it's like this. It's like, and here my cows, and he stands there like, with his pigeon-toe feet on purpose, and he's just like a skinny, helpless doll, and even though the message he's delivering is like offensive to your ears while you're hearing it, if you were to react negatively towards a person speaking to you like that, it would make you the bad guy. He's like set it up in a way to be a martyr at all costs. You know what I mean? Like,
he's a professional propagandist. I mean, that's
absolutely
part of the propaganda and the agenda is that the body language and the way, and
yes.
you know, he's probably funded by the New World Order to one extent or another. So, you know, I think I don't wish him any ill, obviously, but I think what he's doing is
he looks ill though.
Western civilization, most 100%.
Well, answer me this, guys. He's been vegan for he was vegan for less than a year before he made a YouTube channel and started making vegan propaganda videos on YouTube.
I did that too. Me too. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
okay, yeah, but hold on.
Like,
but that was only 2 years ago.
Right. I know. And he
hasn't even been vegan 3 years.
It's crazy.
The guy hasn't been vegan for 3 years and he's giving TED Talks. First of all, who plugged him in to TED Talks?
The New World Order. That this is what it is, you know what I mean?
Right?
They pick up these people, these kids, they'll, you know, a lot of these kids are super enthusiastic. It's the same thing with Klaus from Plant-Based News. You know, they got Saudi Arabia owns that shit now. So it's like, this is real. Like they're trying to, just because we're seeing all these ex-vegans on YouTube, it doesn't mean that there aren't a lot of like people, you know, high up that are putting a lot of money into pushing the vegan agenda, because they are. You know? Well,
that's what Klaus said the other day. He brought up a great point. He said that Tyson Foods pulled their funding from Beyond Meat, which they had over like $50 million in Beyond Meat. They pulled their funding because they're going to make their own fake meat product now. So that's the type of cheeseola we're talking, guys. Is we're not talking broccoli and fucking bananas.
They're going to make it so it's cheaper eventually, and it's going to get to a point where they're going to tax people out of eating meat. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm worried that's going to come. It's those are topics for maybe another stream, but yeah, this is real. Like you said, it's a war, it's a battle. We're sort of at war for our nutrition. You know?
It's a great debate. It is. And in my opinion, this is something I reflected on this week. Like, this thing that's going on right now, these conversations, especially since the turn of veganism starting to crumble, this shit is so important. This is the most high-end, high-tech, state of the art of nutrition that we have available to us right now. Mm-hmm. Like, we have the best vegan doctors arguing with the best carnivore doctors. We have guys like us who are like in the fields talking to people and trying stuff out, bringing people together, talking about it. This is the real thing. Like, we are getting very close to finding, like, I think within 5 years or so, we're going to have this fully ironed out where it's like, this is the way.
Vegetarianism or not is the answer.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, okay, this is it. You either do this or you don't, and you're on cruise control.
The propagandists, they're invested. They might be trying, like, even if
they could take down the information.
Like the score is settled 5 years from now, we might be fighting this for decades. You know, trying to you know what I'm saying? I don't know though.
No, that's good. That just totally made me feel depressed right there.
I know. We got to end it on a positive note.
Yeah. No, it's fine.
Take control. Veganism doesn't have to, you don't have to get vegan sunken eye syndrome before you quit. Stop today, guys. You don't have to hit rock bottom. End stage veganism.
Nature Myth said, DrewMorg, funny you say Ed made his channel a year into veganism, but you're doing the same with carnivore. LOL, less than a year. The difference is that I was vegan for 4.5 years. And I'm not saying carnivore is the end all be all diet. Like, I'm just saying veganism doesn't work.
I'm not a carnivore, guys. I'm just putting that out there.
This is the foundation of my channel and my message is that veganism, if you could just sum it up to one sentence, veganism does not work for everybody. And it's my opinion that it doesn't work for most people. If that's the only thing that people get out of my whole channel, that's good enough for me, because that is what. You need to
be open-minded and tolerant to those experiences. So that's.
And I wasn't as a vegan either, by the way. I was just like all them. I was like, fuck these like defectors, like they did it wrong. I was the same way. But if I saw somebody like me back then who was like saying the stuff I am now, I would have listened a little bit better. You know what I mean? And if there's enough of us that are getting together and talking like this, it's going to add up. You know what I mean?
It will. Yes, I think so.
Like even really organic says she's only made it 2 months as a vegan. Doesn't work for her either. Neither does eating meat. But yeah, and Megan Remedy said she got pains from eating collard greens and steak, and it wasn't steak. Good point. I think a lot of people, including myself, when I went vegan, I was blaming the meat instead of the plant foods and thinking if I remove the meat, then I was going to have no issues. It's actually the opposite.
Yeah.
You know?
And we have to make that distinguishment too. A lot of people are going into veganism, maybe because they're unhealthy or whatever, not because of the animal foods themselves, but probably because of this standard American diet and all these doctors that say, well, veganism is the only diet that can reverse coronary artery disease.
Oh yeah.
Sure, but those people were not just eating animal foods. They were like eating, like just they were diabetic patients and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we know that. Like we know based on all the data in the world, basically, that when people lose weight, if you start out at 250 pounds and you drop down to a healthy body weight of 180 pounds, all of your health markers are going to improve no matter how you did it, even if you did it on McDonald's.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's try and get you a last question here.
Yeah, my data box is running out of battery.
Oh boy, we'll let you cruise then, and I will just do a very small outro after this because I'm ready to call it as well.
I appreciate having me on. This was fun. And thank you to the chat. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, man. I'll see you later, Charles. Have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
See ya. All right. Oops. Well, guys, thanks again to Vegan Cheetah, Charles Marlow. Appreciate the chat, man. That was fun, especially you're doing it mobile. I think that's the coolest shit, like the whole mobile setup. I thought I was cool last week doing the stream from the garage with the laptop, but you just took it to the next level with the data box. That's extremely impressive. That's super cool. Yeah, man. Little Cheetah, guys, like he makes crazy content. He comments on the vegan drama, and the vegan and ex-vegan carnivore drama, but man, he keeps the pot stirring. I think it's a good thing. I think he found a nice little niche. Planetary Farm says, I wish I had never been vegan. The way I look at it is this. Veganism was your stepping stone to better health. So, you know what I mean? Like, you can't really hate on yourself for that because your open mind brought you into veganism, which was a step in the right direction. You probably improved health markers in some ways versus your old ways. And then now you found something even better because you remained open-minded, and maybe you will even find something better in the future. Hey, thank you, Primal Edge Health. Thank you, Carnivore. Take it easy, guys. Hey, thanks for showing up. Appreciate the modding and the support. Get Joey Carbstrong on. Man, I'll do it. You know what? I'm willing to talk to anybody at this point. I didn't see the debate between Zverige and Vegan Gains. Somebody link that, and then I'll watch it later. I'm not gonna watch it right now on stream. I'm sure it gets heated. Oh man, yeah. Charles deserves some credit, dude. I mean, hard work should always be respected, no matter what you do. Just sticking with it, the stuff that he's done and stuff that he's gone through, like sleeping on the beach and then still making this content, like that's crazy to me. I would talk to Joey Carbstrong, like I said. I would talk to Freely, like I said. Those wouldn't be comfortable conversations for me. Like I don't like Joey Carbstrong. When I watch his content, when I watch his face, when I watch him speak, I don't like it. It's the same with Mark Tassie. Like these people just they spark a certain they make my hair stand up on the back of my neck. I just don't like them. You know what I mean? And I don't know them personally, but it is what it is, man. I would have them on. I would still have them on. I would talk to them. Maybe they could be good people when you get them into a situation where you're speaking one-on-one with them, make it a little bit more personal. But I don't really think Freely's going to have anything new to say other than, you're a fucking murderer, you're a rapist, you're a torturer. She's not going to even accept that 1% of the population can't be vegan for their whole life. She still thinks that everybody can be vegan. And to me, that's a very closed-minded person with perhaps nothing to offer the collective community. Oh, the debate's going on Sunday. Okay. We will watch that on Sunday. So, by the way, guys, for those of you still here, I have Christine Salas. She's coming out of retirement for your boy. We're going to have a stream on Saturday. I posted the thumbnail and the stream timing. Make sure you set the reminder and subscribe to the channel. She will be on 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I would definitely like to have Brian Turner on. What would you guys like to see? Who, I see you guys throwing out some names, but more importantly, the names, like, what do you guys want to see the topics go towards? Because I know I don't like talking about the same things over and over. I want to bring new mental things to the table. And again, if you know of anybody who wants to participate in the challenge that I've offered, which is the 30-day vegan to carnivore, carnivore to vegan challenge, I have a vegan lined up that is willing to eat carnivore for 30 days. What I need is an omnivore or a carnivore willing to bite the bullet that wants to go vegan for 30 days to compare and contrast the two diets. This is next level, next generation science right here, in my opinion. Freely has good ideas sometimes, but why does she have to be so mean? I don't even care that she's mean. I just think she has bad ideas. Like, to me, the way somebody delivers their message, whether it's mean or nice, is less important than the quality of the message. If that, you know what I mean? Like, yes, obviously the way people deliver the message is important to the way that you enjoy interacting with them. But the quality of their message based on the information that they're putting out, it needs to be good. I've been trying to get Jacko Wacko on. We've been in contact. I'm going to have John Venus very soon. He's going to be in LA next week. There might be an in-person interview with John Venus coming. We might be meeting up very soon and doing that. Also, I'm going to have Megan Elizabeth, my old roommate and good friend. She's going to be on this month. We got so many more people coming on, guys. So I'm bringing in the people. You guys got to give me the ideas. You guys got to tell me what is interesting. Where are we going with this? Like, today was good with Charles. We talked about the reverse placebo effect, which is, basically the concept that veganism is the placebo, and then leaving veganism is the anti-placebo. It's actually the reality. But vegans think it's backwards. Vegans think that eating salmon is the placebo, and I disagree. I think that eating banana smoothie that gets you all high off your ass, I think that's the placebo, making you think that that's healthy and feels good. It feels good for a while, but not forever. Charles in the chat, thank you. Thank you for following up with the fans and the friends. I wonder how many times I say like Gregor, Eco Steve. That's something that I'm definitely trying to work on, is less ums and less likes and all that stuff. I think when you watch yourself back, you realize how much you say those things. No way I could go carnivore. I would lose all credibility as a 100% raw vegan. Well, luckily, Ross, you don't have to. We've already got a vegan who's willing to step up and try a meat supplemented diet at the very least. And what we need now is somebody from my side who's willing to go and try vegan for 30 days. Zombie mukbang, I don't think that would count if you fasted for 30 days for the vegan challenge, but water is vegan, technically speaking. Although you would be consuming human fat, so not vegan. A 24-hour treadmill stream with Dr. Gregor? No, thank you. Let's see. Sarah says, I'd really like to see you interview Frank Tufano because he has done carnivore for so long. It'd be nice if anyone would throw him a bone. Yeah, no. Frank's doing fine. I don't think he needs anybody to throw him a bone, man. He's his channel has exploded as fast as anybody else's I've ever seen on YouTube. Quite impressive, to be honest. Ooh, high carb Hannah or Derek. Now you're thinking. That gets me interested. I like that one. And I've never met them either. I almost met them in Hawaii. They were staying with Elise and they were there for a weekend. They were like, they slipped in, they slipped out. They didn't talk, they didn't hang out with anybody. I'd like to, okay, I'll keep my mouth zipped on what I think about them, but they would be interesting, to say the least. Vegans overvalue social pressure as the main reason why people are leaving veganism. Social pressure is something that also keeps people from leaving the cult. Agreed. I think it's more so on the inside than it is on the outside. I think once you've been vegan for more than 6 months, the social pressure really doesn't mean anything anymore, right? Like, if you've gone 4 years as a vegan, 5 years as a vegan, social pressure is not, you've conquered that years ago. Now, you will always deal with the inconvenience, but yeah, I think that you've overcome social pressure quite a long time before. I hope High Carb Hannah and Derek start eating meat. I know they want to have a baby and it's not happening right now. That's a good point. You know, hormonally, I think it affects men and women. I think, you know, I look at Derek and the guy is so skinny. So skinny. Does not look healthy to me at all. And even the weight that High Carb Hannah has lost, like, it doesn't look right to me. The way that the weight has come off, it doesn't look right. Montreal Healthy Girl, she's interesting. I think she would probably be willing to come on. She's a smaller channel. She has some interesting stuff. I think she's vegetarian, right? I'm sorry, Nature Myth. No ayahuasca for me. I do not like those type of psychedelics. I'm not into it. Not into it at all. Simnet seems cool. I would do him as well. Spencer Mack would be cool. Here's a cool thing about me and Spencer Mack. I was texting him right when I went carnivore because he was having a lot of similar issues to me, similar issues to Evan Rock towards the end there. And I was hitting him up and basically like giving him the whole carnivore spiel, telling him all about the people that I just learned about and check it out. And my digestion's amazing and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, all right, well, we'll be in touch or whatever. Thanks for giving me the info. He was real cool about it. And then like a month later is when he started experimenting with animal foods. So kind of cool. Drew, you should get East Coast Creep. She went from vegan to carnivore and seems to have a lot to say about it. Interesting. I need to look her up. I don't know who that is. East Coast Creep. Another person that's kind of interesting is what's her face? The girl with the van, East Coast girl, real skinny. Something the Light. Stella the Light. She's still vegan, I think, and she's way skinny now. Go look at her Instagram. Stella the Light has turned into like Stelly the Skelly. Yeah, Eco Steve, my libido was crushed as a vegan as well, man. Like I was actually, yeah. I was actually incapacitated, out of commission. I did see that sperm count thing, Megan, from Sean Baker. Pretty interesting. Yeah, interesting. Montreal Healthy Girl says that she's mostly plant-based, but why carnivore is not the best idea. I mean, I think that it's all in context of what you can handle. Like if you can eat a lot of plants, like let's say you can eat the Mediterranean diet with no issues at all, you're probably not going to see a huge benefit of the carnivore diet. But it's for the people who have like digestive issues or like if you look up what's his name, Elastic Strength. It's an older guy named Don and his wife. Don had like, I don't know, skin rashes in his ear. I forgot what it's called. And basically in 6 months, carnivore diet healed it completely. The vegan diet, it got worse for years. 6 months on the carnivore diet, boom, gone. Completely gone. I think Supreme Banana probably on that meat these days. Just saying. Yeah, hashtag limp noodle, man. For real. I've never had the limp noodle. Yeah, Elise is going to come on the show too, by the way, Sarah. She wants to do like a hang. Discussion hang. 40 Below Fruity is not looking so good. She did a video recently where they were all the vegans were doing like a round table Her, Chris Kendall, I think Plantriotic was in it, Raw Vegan Ginger, what's his name, Rainey from, I think his name's like Simply Organic or something, not Simply Organic, Symbiotic Solutions. They all did a video, I'm still vegan for the animals. All dramatic and fucking dumb. 40 Below Fruity does not look good. Yeah, her lips are graying. Her skin is very pale. She just doesn't look great. She never lost the weight that she should have lost years ago. I do like mewing. I do like the idea of mewing. I don't like think about it all the time, but I think I pretty much have like a natural posture where it does that. Yeah, a lot of the really long-term vegans, especially the ones that were already on the thinner side, are not looking so good. I love MMA. I do not train. If I was going to train anything, I would train boxing. But I think wrestling is the best foundation for MMA. Although I'm never going to be an MMA fighter, so I think that having good hands is the way to go in a street fight. 40% of men over 40 can't keep it up. Ouch. Yeah, Raw Vegan Ginger, nails on a chalkboard when I see her content, for sure. Yeah, we can get into Raw Vegan Ginger. Of course, Meg. That is a whole topic. She is very interesting from what I can see online. She looks like the type of chick you break up with her and she keys your fucking car. That's what I think about Raw Vegan Ginger. That's my expert opinion. Matt Monarch. Haha. You go find him and let us know how he's doing. Why do I spend so much time talking about vegans if I'm not one? Well, I mean, the vegans love talking about me, so we got to respond. It's interesting because once you identify yourself as a vegan and then you leave, you apparently can never leave the diet. They will bash you and basically try and discredit you, assassinate your character, whatever it takes to get people to start ignoring you, and that doesn't always work in their favor. I think focusing on the diet that I embrace is not always the best way to captivate people's attention. I'm not trying to ignore you, Sarah Boop. I just didn't read your comment. Or maybe you're talking to somebody else. Jack Jackson asked me, do you know who Raw Matt is? Raw High Food for years and years. He was a Raw Food before Life Regenerative was on YouTube. I never heard of him. There is another guy that's been floating around for years named Chris Califano, who's been a raw vegan for years and has a really amazing physique, but he's like impossible to get a hold of. All right, guys. I think we're gonna cap the stream here. I appreciate everybody for coming out. Somebody asked me, what about John's brother, Leo Venus? I'd have him on the stream. I think he has fantastic results. Leo's a sexy little dude. Young guy. He's, smart. He has science to back up his claims. But again, he's, doesn't mean that it's going to work for everybody just because it works for him. But anyway, so I am going to cut the stream here. Again, thank you again to Charles, and make sure you guys are setting reminders for the next streams because I have already set up the one on Saturday. Follow the channel otherwise, and we'll talk to you later. Appreciate it. Peace.